And happy Friday to you. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen. It is March the 4th, rivalry weekend, final weekend of the college basketball regular season. NFL Combine weekend for Patrick Perrette. Big lacrosse weekend, too, from what I understand.
But a bigger Combine weekend. It's a bigger. I might actually – I'm not going to take the weekend off of lacrosse because Maryland's playing Notre Dame, but it might be a one-game weekend.
Oh, just a one-game weekend.
There's going to be that much going on. I'm going to be at the lake. I'll probably be out on the boat for a little while on Saturday. Okay. I think the weather's going to be nice, but, yeah, not as much TV time this weekend.
All right. So, it'll just be a one television weekend for him.
And I tried to watch as much of the comment as I can, but I have to do it like on my phone, just looking up highlights basically and refreshing trackers. I don't have the NFL Network at my house, so I'd have a little workaround. It was hard to follow, but electric day at the Combine.
So you're ready to give some takes on quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends?
Well, mostly I'll just preview by saying it was officially the fastest group of receivers in Combine history.
Ooh.
We have the fastest group of receivers ever.
Well, there you go.
9 guys. I think 8 after the official times came out, they were all absurdly different. But I think officially 8 guys under 4.4. That's never happened before. And not 10 guys under 4.41 or faster. So that's absurd.
Okay. All right. So we'll have an NFL Combine update. Who's going today? Who's working out today?
Today, who is today? The offensive lineman. They were at the podium yesterday. So I think it's the offensive lineman. Did you see the picture of Evan Neal?
I did not know.
Evan Neal's been going viral because he's the skinniest 337-pound person you'll ever see in your life.
Understandable. Feel bad about myself now.
Yeah, he is such a freak. Okay. I wish he was working out today.
All right. So, So we'll get into a little bit of that this morning. We'll talk about South Carolina and Auburn tomorrow, 1 o'clock, the end of the regular season. What are the Gamecocks' chances? Walker Kessler, we'll keep an eye on his injury and talk about the importance of that potentially, if he's able to go or not. Tomorrow, because that's actually a pretty big injury if he's out, the way that their interior players have been playing. But he's, according to AL.com, continuing to work through a left shoulder injury. Bruce Pearl saying, I believe it was yesterday, but it might have been Wednesday. I saw it yesterday. But Bruce Pearl saying that his arm he was in a sling following the Mississippi State game on Wednesday night. So I guess he either said it Wednesday night or yesterday in a press conference, but he had sustained the injury in the Auburn loss to Tennessee. So that is a pretty big injury, actually, even with Jabari Smith absolutely exploding and putting up 27 in both the last 2 games that Auburn has played. But we'll talk a little bit about that. And obviously we'll get into the baseball as well. But the news coming out yesterday, Patrick, from Mark Kingston, kind of confirming, I think, what we all thought or believed, that James Hicks will have Tommy John surgery and is done for the season. He'll be back next year. The thing about that, and I brought this up, I did the final hour of Heath Klein's show yesterday, and I started that hour talking about this. You know, a lot of the discussion, it feels like the last month, has been about Frank Martin and the job status and how people feel. Baseball here is something that people hold near and dear to their heart, this baseball program. And Mark Kingston, it is I said this, I'm repeating everything that I said. If you listen to the first segment yesterday, I'm basically repeating myself to Patrick Perrette and seeing and Jen and seeing what their opinion is. But everybody here holds baseball in pretty high regard.
Yep.
With that being said, there's some significant injuries to this pitching staff. James Hicks, Julian Bosnick is yet to throw a pitch. Jack Mahoney is a guy that they counted on, Patrick, last year to pitch midweek games, and probably a guy that they thought would be a weekend starter this year. He is not pitching this year because of Tommy John surgery. We asked John Whittle about him maybe this past week, about the prospects of playing in the infield or playing some but not pitching. He's a third pitcher that is out right now.
Yeah.
This is kind of a big year for Mark Kingston, again, because the patience around here isn't very there isn't a lot of it. I guess that's the best way to say it. There's not a lot of patience. And last year, South Carolina was able to host a regional, and when they host a regional, they're kind of expected to win the regional. They were kind of gift wrapped a path to
hosting the regional as not the top seed.
Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. They were kind of gift-wrapped a path there to the College World Series, and not only could they not take advantage of it, they couldn't get out of the regional. it's good. Most programs would be very happy with just getting to postseason play. And Mark Kingston has done that in 2 out of the 3 seasons. Again, the 4th season, they were 12-4. COVID canceled the whole season. I don't know how anybody can even assess or figure out what that was going to be. So I'm giving Kingston 3 seasons here. He's had 2 postseason appearances and then a 28-28 season in which they were 8-22 in conference play and not good at all, didn't make any postseason. Patrick, I mean, how much do you take into account as we go into the start of not only a massive series, it's Clemson, but man, you look at the next 4 weeks.
It's begun. It begins this week. I mean, you're not going to have an easy weekend again.
No,
that's basically where we're at.
No, but the next 4 weeks are. I mean, you're right. The SEC, I think maybe you'll get
Missouri.
Yeah, someone sprinkled in there that maybe you can take on.
But I mean, that's not going to make it because they're not a terrible team, and you're just going to have the pressure of you're going to need to get a sweep in series like that. But yeah, I mean, it's Texas next weekend, then Tennessee,
and then Vanderbilt.
So is that 1, 2, and 3? No, 1, 3, and 4, or something like that. I know Arkansas and Ole Miss are both up there in the top 5. I don't know who else is rounding out the top 5, but basically 3 top 5 teams in the next 4 weekends plus Clemson.
I don't think
Vanderbilt lost a couple series or a couple games.
I'll look back up the D1 top 25 and
or Tennessee. Just maybe they're not top 5, but I'm just thinking of that because they scored like 100 runs in their first 2 series.
Texas. This is going into the week. Texas is number 1, Mississippi's 2, Arkansas's 3, Oklahoma State 4, and Vanderbilt 5.
What's Vanderbilt's record?
Vanderbilt going into the week was 5-2. This is an old list I'm looking at. Tennessee currently sits at number 17 nationally. So what you're saying is Clemson not ranked as of the most recent poll. After that, you've got next week is Texas number 1, then you've got number 17 Tennessee, and then you've got number 5 Vanderbilt. I'm sure those will all change as teams win and lose and move around. But the bottom line is, I kind of asked that question because you got Will Sanders throwing tonight, 7 o'clock, Founders Park. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game. Again, tomorrow we will actually be out at Segra Park from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. broadcasting live before the Carolina Clemson game. You can go by. There will be a fan fest. It'll be free. It's open to the public. I believe Terry Ford will be out there broadcasting, so you can go and stop by that fan fest tomorrow at Segra Park before the Battle of Bull Street or the Battle on Bull Street. But the bottom line is, this is going to be a tough series. Clemson comes in as right now the better team, the healthier team, the deeper pitching staff, and I would say I don't think maybe we should have called Brian Edwards. I know he doesn't bet on college baseball, but maybe I should have checked if there's college baseball lines you can wager on. I would assume
there have to be
somewhere, right? You can take series bets, but I would assume South Carolina would be the underdog going into this series this weekend.
Yeah. So to your Mark Kingston question, do you take into account the injuries? I mean, I absolutely do. I think it would be kind of unfair not to. It's not his fault that guys are getting surgery and guys are getting hurt. And I guess you could look at this as a big opportunity for him. I mean, if he gets this team to the postseason, now I think that's part of it, because if you don't get to the postseason, people aren't going to care about the injuries. They're just going to look at results and say, well, you couldn't even make the postseason. So that's half your time as the coach. You haven't made the postseason. If he does, though, it'd almost be a feather in his cap saying, look, we've managed a just banged up team. We integrated 3 transfers and a couple freshmen into the lineup. There were a lot of moving pieces, and we made it work. If you can win a couple series against teams that are just, you'd be overmatched on paper. If you can win those series and just mix and match and figure out a way to get the pitching done, and Justin Parker comes in high regard. I mean, he's seems to be well respected, and maybe he can pull the right strings and just make things happen. I think as much as it sucks that everybody's hurt, for Mark Kingston's sake, it is an opportunity to kind of prove that you're able to make more out of less. And if you make the postseason and people aren't happy because he didn't get to Omaha or whatever, you go into next year saying, well, look what he did with a banged up team that last year. Everyone's going to be healthy. Will Sanders will be back again, and he will be back again, right?
No, not to my knowledge. I believe he's a junior.
Oh,
I'll confirm that.
Okay, thought he was a freshman last year.
You might be right.
I guess we'll find that out.
I'll tell you in 2
Text
seconds.
us, guys. Is Will Sanders going to be with the team next year?
He's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Is he a third-year sophomore though?
I thought last year was a true freshman.
No, you're right. He was the number 7 top college prospect for the 2023 draft, not the 2022 draft. So okay.
So he'll be back. You'll have your Friday night stud, and then hopefully everyone will be healthy and you'll be able to run it back and Yeah, it's a tough position, but that's just the business. I mean, nobody's ever going to make excuses for injuries, but it's an opportunity for other guys to play and maybe make the most of their opportunities. And you can prove that you're able to be a good game day coach rather than just be able to recruit and kind of get guys ready. You can press the right buttons on game day.
803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. A couple of you already hopping in on the text line. You can also join us on the Love Chevy phone lines as well. And of course, you can always go to the Buford Lending live stream and be a part of the program, be a part of the chat room there. DC, Jason, Decor, Jerry, Robin, Anthony, all wait. Choked right there, just choked. All weighing in this morning with some good mornings. Robin calling it a core day, hashtag core day. So workouts already taking place at 6:13. That's good. We're doing a radio show. We're not going to be working out. Joining us this morning will be Chris Deering coming up at 8:05. Some state championships last night. Gigi Jackson and Ridgeview win a state championship and cut down the nets. And according to multiple reports out of that, and we will catch up with Chris Deering and let him tell us what he learned last night. But it sounds like a decision will be coming here within the next 2 to 3 weeks from Gigi Jackson, not just on what school he'll be attending or if he's going pro. I did see that thrown into a tweet last night that he could opt to go ahead and reclass or graduate, maybe try and go to the G League or join an overtime elite program. But he will be making that decision. And again, if he reclassifies and goes to whatever program he will go to next year. So we will catch up with Chris Deering at 8:05 to discuss that. Coming up at 8:30 this morning, former Gamecock, great friend of the program, Brian Jeffcoat, will join us. We will relive some of his memories. Certainly some really good times for him during the South Carolina Clemson series, and we will go back over that. And then we'll also get his take on the series this coming weekend and as well as what we just talked about in regards to the pitching. South Carolina certainly has been able to hit the ball pretty well, put up 13 runs last weekend against George Washington, rallied and put up 9 on Tuesday night against Appalachian State. So the bats seem to be working, but they go against a Clemson pitching staff that again, has had a good start to the season, and as John Whittle said on Tuesday, is a little bit deeper than South Carolina. So if you want to weigh in on the baseball series, you can certainly do that. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. Again, you can also hop on that Buford Lending live stream if you want to be a part of that. Also, coming up later today, South Carolina and Dawn Staley will start their run in the SEC tournament over in Nashville. They will get Arkansas. And I saw some of you on Twitter yesterday who were kind of disappointed in that. Arkansas, Missouri go to overtime, and I think a lot of fans wanted the rematch there with Missouri. Instead, it'll be South Carolina and Arkansas. That game will be played at 1 o'clock on the SEC network. It'll be 12 p.m. in Nashville, but 1 o'clock Eastern time. Mississippi and Florida, the game that will follow that. And then the night games, LSU, the number 2 seed, taking on Kentucky, and number 3 Tennessee and number 11. So a lot of Gamecock athletics occurring. Again, you've got the women's team starting here at 1 o'clock today. You got the baseball game at 7 o'clock tonight, and you've got the men's basketball game at 1 o'clock tomorrow going, as well as some NFL combine stuff. And I just looked up and saw Sam Howell. He elected not to work out yesterday. Is that right? Did I see that correctly?
Yeah, I think so. Not that big of a deal.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think people are really sold on anything at the combine with quarterbacks anyway. I think it's the least important for quarterbacks.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll get more into the NFL combine discussion as we go through the morning. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100 is how you can be a part of the program. Speaking of that, let's get out to those Love Chevy phone lines, Jen, where Gamecock Larry is set to do what he always does, I'm sure. Make a prediction. It'll probably involve South Carolina sweeping the series and not losing again until it happens. So
firing people up.
Gamecock Larry, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing just fine, but I'll tell you what, Bill, after listening to the Root Hall calling me this morning, talking about the baseball coach, 3 years, they got a pitching staff and all that, then you got to come up there and follow him and talk about this is 4 years, this is that, about the baseball coach. Yeah, we are a baseball town. We love our Gamecock baseball, but we love the Gamecocks and everything they do. But you don't have to, man. You and Root Hog done got me kind of riled up.
Don't you
Let
go
me tell you
bashing the
what's
Gamecocks,
gonna
Gamecock Larry. I'm not going to let you bash the Gamecocks this morning. You better be very positive.
I'm positive.
You better be positive. Don't you
You
bash
the
them.
one
No, I'm
bashing
not
them.
going to take that from you. You be positive.
At least you didn't criticize his athletic director.
That's true.
You was up there talking about the game about the Mark Kingston. Well, he should have been. I don't know, but anyway, let me tell you what's gonna happen.
Oh.
Monday morning, old Gamecock Larry gonna call you guys early, because this coming weekend is gonna be the best. We had a good weekend before last, but this coming weekend is going to be the best in Gamecock sports in a while. First, the ladies gonna go down there and they're gonna play today at 1 o'clock. They're gonna win. But if they lose, they ain't lost nothing. They still be number one in the NCAA.
There's no ifs.
Well, wait
They're
a
not
minute.
gonna
That
lose.
was
No
not very
ifs.
positive. That was it. What do you mean if they lose?
Oh, okay,
Don't you be negative
all
on
right.
me on a Friday morning.
It's not
You
gonna
be
happen.
positive.
Wait a minute, Bill. Let me finish, Bill. Number two. We're gonna go out there to where we going?
Auburn.
We're going
Auburn.
to go to Auburn. We're going to Auburn. Man, and they done took us to the woodshed twice this year. No, once this year. I think it was. I'm all mixed up. Anyway, we're gonna go to Auburn. We're gonna have a shootout. 80 to 79. 80-79 on the last shot by Keyshawn Bryant. 80-79. The Gamecocks gonna beat Auburn. Then we gonna have our softball team. They gonna win. They might lose one. And then this series with what you guys been bashing Mark Kingston for, we only got one starting pitcher. And we're going to have to be, whatever you call it, TBA or two on, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to win 2 games out of 3. And we might sweep. And Gamecock Larry going to call you guys Monday morning, and we're going to be asking for extension for Mark Kingston. We're going to ask for extension for Ray Tanner. We're going to ask for extension for Frank Martin, and we're going to be riding high. And all you Gamecock fans have been negative. Let me tell you something. This is our weekend. This is the weekend old Gamecock Larry going to be here by himself, sitting in his recliner and watching all this going on. We're going to win everything this year, but we might lose one to Clemson. That's about all I got to say, Bill. But you and Root Hog, I think you was talking. Because he called me this morning, he got me riled up talking about this. He ain't got a pitching staff. Well, I don't know. We got a pitching staff, but 2 of them got hurt. It ain't Kingston's fault. But we're going to win 2 out of 3. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later.
What about
Have
the
a good
combine,
weekend.
Gamecock Larry?
He's being negative.
Oh, combines? I don't worry about the combines. I mean, all they combine. What is a combine? Oh yeah, Kevin Harris and them.
Yeah, how fast is Kevin Harris going to run today?
Do what?
How fast is Kevin Harris's 40 time going to be today?
He gonna run faster than anybody else out on the field out there. I don't know all that. I don't know all that. I'm an old man. They called me and want to know, you got an email? I said, do what? You got an email? I said, no, I got a mailbox. I didn't know what they talking about, an email, Google, and all that. Okay, Larry got a $9.95 telephone that he bought from Dollar General 12 years ago. Now they say I got to get a smartphone. I don't want no phone smarter than me. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you guys Monday morning. Go Gamecocks. Have a good weekend, Gamecock fans.
Yeah.
You too.
You too. Oh, boy.
That was a great call.
Root Hog really got him going this morning, but it sounds like
disappointed. I would have said, he's running the combine faster than a combine.
he's Root Hog got Gamecock Larry very negative. He picked Carolina to lose a game in baseball this weekend. He picked Carolina to lose a game in softball this weekend. He's not sure if the women can win in basketball this weekend. He picked only, did I hear a 1-point or 2-point victory in men's basketball?
I don't know.
I missed that.
It was a shot at the buzzer, but I wasn't sure if it was a 3-pointer or a 2-pointer. It was a very negative phone call from him.
I
We
enjoy
have
that
to
phone
get
call
him.
very much, though. Oh, sometimes he comes on and you know what's coming. We're gonna win by 20 points tonight, and then hangs up. No, that was a fun call.
It was.
we gotta get him just more positive. That is. Gabe weighs in this morning. He says, "What an incredible weekend for sports. Really is going to be a fun weekend. Some really good college basketball. We'll get into that college basketball slate this week and talk a little bit about something that we've discussed a little bit this week. North Carolina and Duke up in Cameron. The tickets are they're a lot. And but what like." I don't know how to take this. Krzyzewski, he's going to be in the ACC tournament. He's going to be in the NCAA tournament. But do you go out of your way to catch that game at 6 o'clock? I think you said it was 6 o'clock,
6 o'clock.
This coming week in his final game at Cameron Indoor. So
did you see Pearson's poll question yesterday? It's actually a great poll question.
I did not.
He said of the 3 events happening this weekend, and you could pick one to happen, but guarantee the other 2 don't happen. Men's basketball beats Auburn. Women's basketball wins the SEC tournament. Baseball wins a series against Clemson. What do you want the most? And my vote came in, I think, last place.
What was yours?
I voted for men's basketball to beat Auburn.
Yeah, I think the answer.
I'm kind of fascinated by that question.
I think the answer to that is just because South Carolina beats Auburn in basketball doesn't guarantee that they will get into the NCAA tournament. I think the women, that would be great to win another SEC tournament, but it doesn't change. They're still going to be the favorite to win the NCAA tournament starting in 2 weeks. Baseball, to get the bragging rights,
that one won,
and to make you feel better about the baseball team, I could see where that would definitely win.
Well, and that's the one I voted for because I feel like with all of their challenges with the pitching staff right now, if they could come out with a win for that series, I just think that would be huge and like a good kind of a momentum boost or something. Maybe that's using those words together isn't right.
I think it definitely would. It'd be a rivalry win, and people are kind of down right now about the health, and you come through and put together like gut out a performance, and
especially so early in the season.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
if this is where we are, and man, we could conquer this weekend. That'd be huge.
I'm not surprised at one, mostly just because it's a Clemson series, but
803
beat Auburn.
404-6100. I'd like to see South Carolina beat Auburn as well. It'd be very big for the basketball program. RL weighs in. He says Gamecock Larry was like a geriatric Seinfeld. I was actually thinking when he said I'm an old man, it just took me right to the episode. I think it was Uncle Leo where he's stealing the books out of the bookstore. Have y'all ever seen that? And he gets stopped and he goes, "I'm an old man. I'm confused. Where am I?" Have y'all ever seen that? I've never seen that episode.
I can't remember it. I binge watched all of Seinfeld in like 2 weeks, so not everything has as vivid of a memory for me.
Richard weighs in. He says that was a classic call. He says nothing better can happen this weekend than my Tar Heels beat Duke in Coach K's last rivalry game. That would be
if that was the 4th option on the poll, I might pick it.
That would be something. We'll continue talking about that. We'll get into the college basketball weekend that will be. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
More of the early game coming up on 107.5 The Game.
It's going to be really not only is it a great sports weekend, it's going to be really, really nice this weekend, or it's actually going to start being hot. Totally different now. It's going to actually change. The heating unit at your house, probably not necessary. 81 tomorrow, 86 on Sunday, 87 on Monday. Better be calling AAA Heating and Air to get them to your house for an inspection. $59 is all it will cost when you call AAA Heating and Air and tell them you heard it here with Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game. 803-677-1500. That's how you can get in touch with them. Again, warm summer days are on the way. And, if you're new to Columbia, let me tell you, they get pretty warm. They get actually really, really hot. You're going to want your air conditioner working each and every day. So go ahead. Don't wait until it's too late. Call AAA Heating and Air today, 803-677-1500. Not only will they do a $59 inspection, if there's an issue, they'll work with you. $1,500 rebate to buy back your old unit. Then no money down, 0% financing for those who qualify. And finally, a 15-year parts and labor warranty to make sure that they stay with you to make that heating and air unit continue working properly. 803-677 1500. That's AAA Heating and Air. Call them today. Tell them you heard it here with Bill Gunner on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game traffic from the Shepherd's Glass Traffic Center. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality. shepherdsglass.com.
All right, here, look at this. This is 337-pound Evan Neal. And this is also a wild picture. Vince Wilfork at 325, Evan Neal at 337. Evan Neal. Like 6'2". I don't know. He's not that tall. But Evan Neal is absolute freak. Yeah. Vince Wilfork's 6'2". I just typed in Vince Wilfork went to image searches, and one of the first things is Vince Wilfork's son charged in the theft of Super Bowl rings. His kid stole his Super Bowl rings. Dang, he stole his AFC championship rings, Super Bowl rings, Miami Hurricanes national championship rings, everything. It's messed up. Oh,
Probably one of them are going to mention that just occasionally so that we don't leave out.
my parents called me yesterday after the show, and they said, hey, so we're thinking about going to Darlington this year now that they're South Carolinians. And they're like, what do we do? Can you ask people what's the best way to experience Darlington? Do you know anyone that goes to the race? I was like, well, I know the president of the racetrack, so you get it right from the horse's mouth. They were trying to figure out the best way to do it. They're like, do we rent an RV and watch from like people how they like watch on the top, or do they just buy the tickets? And I was like, I don't know. Yeah.
At Darlington or overall? Like, overall.
Yeah.
So it's like the best way to.
At this point, we can turn this on now so people can hear. We are discussing.
They heard me.
Oh, they heard you.
Yeah, they should have. I don't know what the best way to because they've never watched NASCAR or done anything like that. But
Do they like camping out?
I think they would do it. I think they would like to do it for one night. Yeah. Because what time? I don't know. What time is the race in May? Is it? It's a Sunday evening, afternoon. Yeah, I don't know if that would be their plan.
DarlingtonRaceway.com.
Because there's two. Which one's the bigger race?
Sunday for sure, the Cup race.
But like there's two races at Darlington now, right? May and September.
Yeah. The Southern 500.
That's the one in September. Okay.
But this one's fun because it's got all the throwback schemes,
Yeah.
The old rough because it's So that could be kind of fun too.
There's our official sponsor of the live stream weighing in. Good morning to Benji. Make sure we give that. So, yep. They're discussing, yes, Darlington. And who did you pick yesterday for?
I haven't heard from Reggie yet. I just sent him an
Well, maybe we hurt his feelings.
I'm thinking. Yeah. So now it's.
What?
I'm saying he's doing this to you, but then.
Oh. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Thank goodness that was not. Oh.
Okay. I'm an evil person.
There's one more spot.
Huh? One more spot. Anthony, that was a flex, Patrick.
Yeah. Well, we have carry on every week, so.
I would agree. Turns 2 and 4 would be
That would be the way to do it.
solid choices.
I guess you're right. 6:34 on a Friday morning, March the 4th. Hope you're doing well this morning. Getting up, getting at them, get everything you gotta do today done by noon because it's a busy day of sports, especially if you are a South Carolina fan, and that is what we are talking about this morning. The women's team taking on Arkansas 1 o'clock today on the SEC network tonight, obviously. And I know not only are you going to wait till 7 o'clock, or you're not going to wait till 7 o'clock. I know our good buddy tailgating guru Jan Bennett will be out there in the parking lot at Founders Park within probably the next few hours, Patrick. You know, he's got his flag flying. I believe he's ready to go for a fun weekend of tailgating and baseball for the Gamecocks and the Tigers. Always a fun series. It really is. It's typically been one of the better series in the country. Obviously, this year, neither team ranked, but they do come in with solid records. The Gamecocks come in 7-1 on the season. Obviously, Clemson 8-0. So that is what we've been talking about this morning. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100 is how you can join us on the Love Chevy phone lines, or you can join us on the text line. You can also, again, go over and hop on the Buford Lending live stream, where our good buddy Benji Getzy sponsors our live stream. You can make him your broker. He has hopped on and said good morning to everybody. So, and on the live stream in the break, we were talking about Patrick as he, I guess, would you say flexed on your parents? They were talking about they've moved to South Carolina. They want to go to Darlington now. And you told them, well, I kind of know the president of the raceway.
Well, yeah, no, they called and they said, hey, we're thinking about going to Darlington. Is that something you would suggest? They were like, is that, I think their question was like, is that a bad race to go to? I was like, no, I think everybody loves Darlington. The drivers even talk about how fun of a race it is. So I think I think that would be a great first experience. I think in their mind, it was like, is it like your first experience? Does it have to be like Daytona or Talladega or something? It's like, no, I think everybody loves Darlington. So they said, okay, well, can you ask people what's the best way to do it? How does everybody watch it? They're like, do we need to buy tickets to get in? Can we see from the outside? Do you try and rent an RV and tailgate or whatever you do? And they're like, can you ask your listeners? I was like, oh, I'll ask the president. I'll ask Carrie Tharp, who comes on every single week.
Jen, have you ever been in Darlington and been in the infield? Have you ever done that? Did they do? I got to admit, I don't pay enough. I watched the times I've watched the race. I've never really thought to pay attention to the infield. Do they do the RVs in the infield?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What does that typically cost?
You know, I've seen prices, and I mean, I could be wrong, but I remember seeing a special last year, I think, for the Southern 500, where there were some spots for like $85 or
Oh,
something.
nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Just for an RV? So, I mean,
I think so.
you could just get 10 people in an RV and
put chairs up on the top. And
I mean, I saw people, and I definitely go to the site darlingtonraceway.com, but to be sure, but oh yeah, I mean, people, they had little kiddie waiting pools out there, so like you could sit and watch a TV and have your feet in the pool.
yeah, that seems
and
like really fun.
yeah, it is, and definitely if you were able to be elevated so you can see what's going on, you know. But
Okay.
it's Looks like it's a good time.
All right. So we got that. 803-404-6100. That's what we were talking about on the live stream. What we've been talking about on the radio, though, is South Carolina athletics, the baseball game, the 2 basketball games, a whole lot going on. Gamecock Larry weighing in on softball, too. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. David is up next with questions for me and for Patrick. David, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
I'm doing fine. I've never heard anyone handle Gamecock Larry as well as you did a while ago. Props to you.
Appreciate that.
The question I have for you, Bill, is we played a team that did a little bit different in their pitching rotation. They decided to use their best guy on Sunday. With us being injured, if you were the coach, would you consider doing that strategy either against Clemson or Texas? And Patrick, who do you think Washington takes first in the draft and why? Appreciate all y'all do. Talk to you later.
Appreciate the
Thanks,
phone
David.
call. As far as if I understood him, he was asking if you
Well,
would move
so UNC Greensboro, they saved their pitcher
Right.
for Sunday, but also they put him in the 9th inning to get the save when South Carolina was rallying late in the 9th inning. So they burnt up a couple pitches for him there. But yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, I don't know the nitty gritty enough, but it is an interesting idea. But I guess you don't necessarily want to go into Friday and almost feel like you're just giving up a game. Like, I think you think that Will Sanders can go in there and match up with anybody in the country and get you a win. And the momentum of getting that Friday night win is huge for the rest of the weekend, that you don't necessarily want to put all your eggs in the Sunday basket and say, well, he'll go against their third guy. And if you do that and he somehow loses, it's even more deflating. Like, it is an interesting question.
Might be one better suitor for my good buddy Brian Flanagan, who's a huge baseball fan, and our buddy Jan Bennett. For the fans, how would you want to handle it?
Yeah.
I think for me, if you're asking, David's asking me, I would stay with Will Sanders on Friday night to try and win that game. I think if you can steal the momentum and get going early, whether it's this weekend, whether it's next weekend against Texas. One thing people are saying, I'll go back, and I think this is where Root Hog was able to grind the gears of our buddy Gamecock Larry, because Root Hog sent in basically the same text message that I think he must have gotten Gamecock Larry with, where he says you're throwing together a pitching staff in year 5. It's not so much that South Carolina's throwing together a pitching staff, it's that the proven guys are hurt. The guys behind him, look, Wesly Sweat has been here for a while and is probably going to get a start, I would guess, this weekend.
Just a full-on bullpen game.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've got pitchers. This isn't a situation where you're trying to piecemeal together a pitching staff. What you don't have is experience right now back there on the pitching staff. I mean, again, Julian Bosnick, I guess John Gilreath is a guy. He's actually started a game against Clemson. You have him back there. Again, the guys who I think in Mark Kingston's mind, Patrick, the guys with the experience, the Jack Mahoney, who pitched a lot last year, the Julian Bosnick, the Josiah Seitler, who was going to pitch, and then obviously the most recent injury to Hicks. The guys that you were counting on, they're out. Other guys can step up. Aiden Hunter has pitched a little bit so far. Noah Hall is a guy who transferred in from Appalachian State and has pitched at the collegiate level and is a junior. Cade Austin is, again, a redshirt freshman. Cam Tringali is I think on his 12th year of college. Parker Coyne has been around. He's listed as a 5th year guy. CJ Wines, who pitched the other night. I know it wasn't a great start for him, giving up the grand slam. These are guys who have pitched. And it's just a matter now of people stepping up. They're going to have to step up. You've got guys back there that can pitch. Sam Simpson, Michael Esposito. Again, Michael Esposito, a junior college player. You've got arms. What it is now is a matter of somebody proving themselves that they can do it on the big stage.
Yeah, and it's such a matchup sport that I definitely understand David's question. I'd be surprised if that conversation hasn't at least been had. I mean, because you have to talk about everything, exhaust every option, and come up with every possible scenario. I'm sure they have discussed, hey, would you think about would we just think about saving Will for Sunday? And that way, like UNC Greensboro did, if we get into a bind, he can come in the 9th inning and and get a save for us or whatever it may be. But yeah, I just think mailing it in on Friday saying, "Hey, we're gonna just throw out our third, fourth, whatever guy and hope that the lineup goes crazy and we can get a win that way." I don't think it's great for the momentum of a series to just kind of throw in the towel on Friday night.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think I personally, at least to start, at least the
Yeah.
next few weeks, you go Will Sanders on Friday night. We've seen Mark
And then
Kingston.
Washington, I hope they don't draft at
Oh yeah,
11.
who you got? What do you
I
got?
hope they don't draft at 11. I hope that they use that pick to trade for an actual quarterback. But if they strike out and we have to get a quarterback, Malik Willis is pretty much the only one I want. I'd accept Sam Howell, but
I'm interested. We'll get back to that. The Malik Willis thing. I'm interested to hear that. We'll talk more about that and get Patrick's take on the combine. Let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Brent is up next. Wants to weigh in on the pitching rotation. Brent, how you doing this morning?
Hey, good guys. In terms of the pitching rotation, I think it's key to remember that Friday is at Founders. So I think, you've got to throw Will Sanders Friday night. That just makes the most sense. It should be a packed house tonight. So you throw your ace. And then they got enough guys to figure something out Saturday and Sunday, especially with Saturday being at Segra. You got to believe that that's also going to be mostly a home field environment to a certain extent. So I think we can win tonight, and I think you really just try to find a way Saturday or Sunday to get a win with somebody else. But like y'all pointed out, I mean, Wesly Sweat, he could be a factor in this, but I really think Noah Hall and a couple other guys are going to come up big this weekend. But I think it's no brainer. You got to go Will Sanders on Friday, and hope the bats come alive Saturday and Sunday for you. But hey, go Cox. Y'all have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you for the phone call, Brent. Yeah, I mean, anonymous texter sends in on the text line and says situations like this is how Michael Rolfe proved himself. And you're right. It's a chance. This is you got two ways to look at it. You can view it and say, "Oh, woe is me. We're missing our pitchers and we're down and we're out." Or you can say this is an opportunity for Wesly Sweat, or whether it's Noah Hall or somebody else. Maybe it's Aiden Hunter, maybe it's Kate Austin. I don't know. Again, that's to be decided.
But this is why Justin Parker makes the money that he makes, and this is where he's going to have to prove himself. I mean, he's going to have to figure it out. He's going to have to get the most out of these guys. I read a cool article in The State. I think it was by Ben Portnoy talking about his whole philosophy, and he's really into the NFL draft and just like the idea of evaluating people's tools and measurables and things like that, and how to use that and kind of the data and everything to extract the best possible performance out of guys. So you've got guys. It's the University of South Carolina. It's the SEC. Everybody on your pitching staff has talent. It's just a matter of making the most out of it and getting everybody right. So you'll just have to figure it out. That's just the way it is. It's big boy baseball.
It's a very good point. I mean, that's again, you can do it two ways. You can woe is me, or you can say, all right, somebody's got to step up this weekend, and we'll continue talking about that. 803-404-6100. It's Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, and Jen Jensen here. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game. We'll have to address Jay Phillips in a short while, but first, we need to address your mortgage interest rates. What are you paying right now? I know that interest rates have gone up a little bit. They're a little bit higher than pre-pandemic levels, but you know what? There are still great opportunities out there, and you need to find out what you can do with Benji Getsy and Buford Lending. Give them a phone call today, 843-524-2404. Let Benji Getsy and Buford Lending be your mortgage broker. They can help take care of you by helping do a free evaluation when you give them a phone call, 843-524-2404. You can also visit them on the web, Buford.mortgage. I'm telling you what, experience right now in this mortgage industry matters more than ever. And Benji has been around for 25 years. That's a good bit of experience there. He's ready to help you shop and lock in your rate today. So give him a phone call, 843-524-2404. If you're purchasing, you need to shop your rate with Benji Getsy. He'll get you a lower rate, which will give you more buying power. Let Benji Getsy be your mortgage broker. I'm telling you what, the guy's the best in the business. Give him a phone call today, 843-524-2404. That's Benji Getsy in Buford Lending. Promo.
Yeah.
And he gets the and the answer, Bill Gunner. Because they cut off the way they did it, because I think yours was a little bit too quiet. So it just said, is Jay Phillips the Batman? Because in the answer is yes. I've actually got a bunch of them I was thinking about yesterday. Like one of them, I don't want to start using them all right away. I was going to be like, and tomorrow we analyze, is Jay Phillips really a northerner in disguise with his y'all? I was going to use that one. I want to say something about Tommy being a robot. I had a couple of them for Terry. Some of them were appropriate, some were not. I got a couple for Jay. Heath Klein, something about Imagine Dragons.
Yeah, of course. What was the thing that we said about Heath where someone started mentioning, no, actually Heath lives in an apartment? What are you talking about? What did we start?
Oh, that was
something about the bushes or something.
That was
he
when
had
we were
in his
talking about
yard?
him setting up all the Christmas
lights. Yeah, Christmas lights in his yard.
Yeah. We were talking about how he puts up a ton of Christmas decorations.
And like inflatable Santas and reindeer and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yes, Craig, you can. Yeah, you can log into the SEC Network Plus.
So you did get your Christmas tree down, Bill?
Got it down, got it outside, got it cut up.
Oh.
I was going to, instead of just shoving it in the back of the car, I was going to just cut it. I didn't have I didn't have the stuff to like really weigh it down, and I really just was too lazy to go out and throw it under the dock and weigh it down and create a brim bed. So I cut it up, and I was gonna sneak out each night and throw pieces of the tree in the lake so that it would float off. And so I threw one piece and it floated down. I was like, okay, I can do this. So like I went out like 2 days later to throw another piece in the lake, and the lawn maintenance guys had scooped it all up and taken it off.
Well, how nice of them.
It was very nice of them.
They they knew you.
They did, yeah. They actually cleaned up the whole little area. There was a whole bunch of sticks and stuff just to the left side of the little condo there, because I'm on that end unit. But
You lead a charmed life.
we'll find out. You know what I need to do? We got soccer all weekend, but it's dawned on me as I'm talking about this, and I'm open for suggestions. This is where we group think here on the live stream. I need to prune the crepe myrtle tree, and I read that early spring is the best time to do it.
Just don't lop it all off.
That's called crepe myrtle or murder.
Yeah.
I've read about this, so I'm trying to figure out how to do it properly, and that might be this afternoon's.
Do you have the proper tools to do that?
Oh no, I have a ladder and a clipper.
But at least it like loping shears or something like that?
Yeah, no, it's the big ones. It's got the blades.
Okay.
That big, but yeah, but I got a ladder that I can kind of. This is a big crepe myrtle.
Wow.
So that's the one right there off the deck, and I need to go ahead and do that. So that will probably be in between soccer games, 9 a.m. and 11:40, and then daughter's pageant tomorrow night at 7, and then in Greer for 12 and 2:45 soccer games on Sunday.
Busy.
So I may do the show from the house on Monday.
I pruned rose bushes. I should have had you do that for me.
Now on a rose, yeah, you probably got to. You can't use the electric
No,
hedger
it's better
thing or
to,
whatever.
you know,
Yeah, you
go
probably
to
gotta
certain
probably gotta
places
use
and
some
do it. But I
smart
also have special gloves that kind of go up my arm
I can see that.
so you don't get
Gotta have the
scratched up.
proper equipment. Makes sense.
I'm about to head back in.
Why did Kansas play TCU twice this week?
I think it was a makeup game, but I just saw that
Had to be, right?
up there, and I was like, why? That's the only thing I can assume is there was a makeup game.
That's the only thing that would make sense, I would think.
(803-404-6100). How you can weigh in this morning if you'd like to do so. You can also hop on the Buford Lending live stream where I was trying to crowdsource how exactly to prune a crepe myrtle tree that needs to be part of my weekend plans. Didn't really get any suggestions. Jen made it all about herself and started talking about how she recently, I guess, pruned the rose bush there in the yard, and you had the specific shears and gloves that went back to your elbow to avoid the thorns.
Yeah. Yeah, because I have 3 different rose bushes up front.
Patrick, when was the last time you were outside doing yard work?
It's been a couple years.
Yeah.
I mean, I rent, so I don't have to do yard work.
We know your disdain for being outside pretty much as is. I would imagine yard work is pretty high up on your list of things.
It was the last time I had to like weed the pool area at my parents' house, probably a couple
Yeah, I need
years
some
ago.
weeding done if you want to come on out.
Yeah, let's test that out. Hour number 2 up next. We'll talk more Carolina baseball, Carolina basketball, and a few other things as well. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game. You know what we need to get into real quick when we come back?
Yeah.
Get a lot of stuff. All right.
One more hour.
Yeah. It's good. Easy then. Glad we didn't get that third guest. Let me see.
I really need to see Batman on Monday.
Jim, yeah. We're at CESA Sunday. Tomorrow we are in Irmo. I forget that road out there near Liberty on the Lake. So we'll probably actually, after the 11:40 game, we'll probably run over to Liberty on the Lake and grab some lunch. There you go, Anthony. Okay. I gotta admit, unless you're coaching, I don't.
Yeah, I think that's a solid plan, Anthony, right there.
I don't know why
Why
you
does it
would
matter
maybe.
if he's coaching? He's saying game in the morning.
He just says 8-year-old volleyball. I mean, why not a
Followed
tequila?
by-
Why not a tequila shot in the morning?
It's true. It's true.
I mean,
Tequila Sunrise. I
those
actually
Yetis
love.
can hold just about anything now.
One of my favorite drinks is tequila sunrise.
We with a new set of parents tomorrow. I don't know if I can take the Yeti out to the game because I don't coach Austin, so I watch now. I parent from the sideline. Oh, I like this. Thank you. Somebody on the text line said trim all branches that are the diameter of your pinky finger. I got small hands, so
That's good advice.
yeah. It was windy, real windy. Starting about 4 o'clock. I'm glad the boat was out of the water because I looked out there and those boats were bouncing, man. It was I know a lot of people were on the lake yesterday. Um, but yeah, Anthony, just take yourself a Yeti. Maybe start with a mimosa. We probably won't do the mimosas at the game tomorrow. A little bit too early, 9 a.m. Depends on. I bought some chicken kebab skewers for tonight. Teriyaki chicken bob skewers. I think it's supposed to be nice. Yeah, and to go back to that gym, let's see, we were in Augusta last Saturday. Greer was Irmo tomorrow, Greer Sunday, and then a tournament in Columbia. I wonder if they got a schedule up.
Ugh, it bothers me so much watching Kenny Pickett throwing at the combine with gloves on.
Let's see here. Actually, I guess since it's not on my phone, I can do it on my computer. All right, let's see the rundown of sports this weekend. Wow, women's beach volleyball will play against Central Arkansas at 8:30 this morning. They play Central Arkansas at the Horned Frog Challenge. It says 7:30 a.m. Central Time.
Jeez.
And they play TCU at 11:30 a.m. Central Time. TCU's number 5. Tomorrow they play Georgia State at 7:30 a.m. Why do they play so early?
I don't know.
And they play number 3 Florida State. Women's beach volleyball is 3-1.
Right as the sun's starting to shine. It's probably the earliest you can play. Otherwise, it's dark when you start warming up and getting ready.
Friday morning, just hours. Well, I just learned, and I'm on the live stream. Once again, I'm crowdsourcing for more information. I was going to go through a rundown of just South Carolina sports for the weekend. Gamecock Larry mentioned softball. He was being very negative. He hopes they only win 2 of 3. He thinks that Carolina might lose a baseball game. He's only got South Carolina winning. The Gamecock Larry called in earlier. He's only got South Carolina winning the basketball game tomorrow against Auburn by like 1 or 2. He wasn't exactly positive the women's basketball team was going to win the SEC tournament. Root Hog clearly got to him. But I was going to go through a rundown of South Carolina kind of athletics, just give a shout out, like say women's beach volleyball. I was kind of like, I know it's in season. They're 3-1 right now. And so I'm looking up the women's beach volleyball team here, the schedule. Can anybody explain to me? Patrick had a good theory on this. I'm looking at it. Women's beach volleyball is out at the Horned Frog Challenge in Fort Worth, TCU's, I guess, event. They're going to play Central Arkansas at 8:30 this morning Eastern time, 7:30 Central, and they're going to play TCU at 11:30 a.m. 11:30 a.m. Central, 12:30 Eastern time. Is that because of you play outside and it can't be too hot? Is it because of
I don't think too hot would be the challenge right now, but I mean, it's about the earliest you can play with the sun coming up. Like, I don't know how early you need to get warmed up. I mean, usually about an hour. So if you're warming up, getting out to the beach at 6:30, it's still going to be kind of dark.
I
maybe there must be a ton of games.
I have no idea. That's why I'm asking.
If you're playing starting at 7:30, there must be games all day long because I mean you can only start. What time does it get dark now?
Still about 6:30ish, 7. Yeah.
So you got to start your last game by like 4, right? I don't know, 2 hours, 1 hour.
I have no clue. That's why I'm
asking.
asking. That's why I bring it up. Women's softball this weekend. They will take on. They're at Central Florida. They're in Orlando for a couple games this weekend. Central Florida and Florida Gulf Coast. They'll play Central Florida today at 4:30. You can actually watch women's softball on ESPN Plus tomorrow against Florida Gulf Coast and Central Florida, and then a Sunday game against Florida Gulf Coast. So, a couple other sports we get a little love too. There, the Gamecocks 10-5 in softball as well. 803-404-6100. We have been talking a lot about the baseball series this weekend, and I think, Patrick, we've come to a consensus that this is an opportunity. It's an opportunity for Justin Parker, the pitching coach. It's an opportunity for other pitchers, Wesly Sweat and maybe Noah Hall being the two that come to mind, that it's time to step up. And these games, both for South Carolina and Clemson, are opportunities to cement some legendary status to your career. Our buddy Brian Jeffcoat's got 3 home runs in a game against Clemson. Michael Roth made his name. Michael Roth went on to a phenomenal career, obviously, but he made his name with an incredible performance in Omaha against Clemson. It is this series that has produced some superstars and some incredible moments. And Brian Jeffcoat will join us at 8:30 this morning to talk about his memories of it, as well as this weekend. But for South Carolina, here's an opportunity. And I think Wesly Sweat will be a big part of the weekend. I think Noah Hall, maybe Aiden Hunter, Kate Austin, again, seem to be the 4 names that are being tossed around, as well as a guy like Michael Braswell, who could come in and have to save a game or 2. And boy, you talk about a guy who is
stock at an all-time high and can only if he comes in and gets a big-time save in a high-leverage situation, I'm not sure how much more hype he can build around himself. That would be pretty legendary. But everybody's got, like you said, everybody, you mentioned all the names. They all know. They all know what's waiting right now. They know about the injuries. They know Seidler's hurt. They know Bosnick's been out, and they know the deal. If you want to be a big-time pitcher in this conference and in college baseball overall, you got to be ready when your name's called, and everyone should know that their name is getting called. There's really going to be no excuses. Noah Hall, you mentioned him. Yeah, you played at App State last year. Couple good outings, couple struggled at times, but you got to be ready. This is why you transferred to South Carolina from Appalachian State. You want to play in games like this. Wesly Sweat, he's been there, done that. He's going to know that they're probably going to need to ask more of him this weekend than they did last weekend or the weekend before that, and he's just got to be ready for it. That's just the way it is, and hopefully Justin Parker, Mark Kingston are getting him ready for that.
803-404-6100. Steven from Blythewood understands the program a little bit. He understands we crowdsource. He says, y'all seem to talk about a lot of things you have no idea about. Yeah, no, we have no idea. That's why we ask about beach volleyball, women's beach volleyball, and about pruning crepe myrtle trees, or at least that's more for me specifically, because I'm always up for a little bit of advice on what may be going on. If you want to weigh in,
we talk about things that we think we know a lot about, but really know very little about. Yesterday, I've thought for weeks that Aiden Hutchinson's dad was Steve Hutchinson.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I don't know where I think I heard it on the podcast, and I've just been operating with that assumption this whole time. I was like, God, what a bloodline. Turns out that's just not the case.
We are correct occasionally.
Sometimes.
There's 5 days in a week. If we can get 1 day right, we feel we've succeeded with this program. If you want to weigh in again, 803-404-6100, how you can join us. Yesterday, Patrick if you weren't on the live stream at the end of the show, you missed it. Patrick got really upset with me as we concluded the program. We spent a lot of time yesterday kind of discussing college basketball coaches. Rick Pitino's name was thrown around a good bit in terms of maybe Maryland. We actually did a whole segment with Michael Boland from CBS Sports in regards to Maryland and Rick Pitino and any job he could take. Well, at about 8:50, as we were wrapping up with Kerry Tharp, Rick Pitino put out a tweet yesterday. Patrick, I actually talked to some people that I still know in basketball, in the world of basketball, and that kind of are privy to some of these things. I was told that Maryland swung pretty hard at Rick Pitino, somewhere in the ballpark of $7 to $8 million a year. It was speculated by one person that I talked to yesterday that the deal might have been in the neighborhood of 5 years, $40 million.
Yeah.
I don't know if DC Radio mentioned anything about that.
No, I know, but I do know that the president, University of Maryland president, did not want Rick Pitino, and the athletic director was lukewarm. But everybody with money that funds that program wanted Rick Pitino.
Yeah, I don't know if this is true that he was offered this kind of money. It's certainly not been reported anywhere else. But Rick Pitino puts out a tweet at about 8:50 yesterday morning as we're wrapping up the program. After we talked about Pitino a good bit during the show, let me read you the tweet. It said the University of Maryland is one of the premier institutions of higher learning. Its basketball program can be among the nation's best. I hope they find the next Gary Williams. I love coaching at Iona, and I'm totally committed to my players. It will not be me. Now, you take that with a grain of salt when coaches say that these days, but that certainly sounds pretty definite he's not going to go to Maryland. And if he's not going to go to Maryland, the other big time job is Louisville, and pretty certain he's not going back to
Yeah, I
Louisville.
wouldn't think so.
So
Get a legit title this time.
I think it would seem to indicate Rick Pitino will not be on the job market or will not be looking for a bigger, better job this coming off season.
I was thinking about it a lot yesterday, and I guess it does make sense. He's finally kind of moved past everything. His name doesn't really get brought up, and no one's like, "Oh, those scumbags at Iona hiring Rick Pitino after everything he's done." Like, there's not really backlash about it there. But if you come to Maryland, then all of a sudden you're back in the limelight again, and everything's being rehashed. And he's in New York with, you said, his grandkids, right? He moved to be closer to his grandkids, and I guess the last thing you want is to start having your grandkids going to school and reading stories about you and everything you did with recruits at Louisville. Like, there's something to be said about just kind of having moved past all of the past transgressions and all the drama surrounding your name, and obviously the comfortability of living on wing foot, playing golf every day, not having a high pressure job, and you're still out of school. You can still kind of be a legend at Iona. Like, they're going to play in the tournament, right?
I don't know if they're going
winning
to
the MAC.
I was going to say, I don't know if they're an at-large team. Obviously, they're 24-5 and 16-2 in the mid. What is it? The mid athletic, whatever it was, Atlantic Athletic Conference. It's four words there.
It's
and
the
fourth is
MAAC. There's a
Yeah.
MAC and then an MAAC.
I don't want people to think it's the actual MAC conference, but yeah, you're right. So with that being said, I don't know if they're an at-large team. They did beat Alabama this year for kind of their marquee win. But
again, if that's what the adrenaline of March Madness and just everything that comes with being a college basketball coach, the reason you love it, it's not like you can't still be there every March and go to tournament, have a chance to play David and take down some giants every once in a while. It's not like you're just completely out of the game. He's not coaching at a Division III school.
Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. It's a lot to
like.
get out
where's
right there.
Jim Calhoun right now? Isn't he's somewhere like very nondescript, isn't he?
Well, I thought it was Central Connecticut, but I could be wrong on that.
Is he even coaching Division I basketball?
I'm not sure.
I don't even know.
We'll look that up there.
But anyway, it's not that. I mean, Rick Pitino can still play in March and kind of accomplish some things. It's just there's very little pressure for him there.
And again, we'll see how all of this turns. Yesterday, again, a couple people that I spoke with now seem to think that Andy Enfield, who you've discussed, will end up being the next Maryland coach. Sounds like they may make a run at Kevin Willard at least. I think they may throw some money at Ed Cooley. The college basketball world will be, I think personally, and both of us, Patrick and I, are big college basketball fans. And I think you're going to get an NCAA tournament that is going to be very exciting. A lot of upsets. It'll be kind of starting this weekend with what should be a pretty good weekend of college basketball that wraps up the regular season here. It'll obviously be highlighted, Patrick, by that Duke North Carolina game, the final game for Mike Krzyzewski in Cameron Indoor. And that's going to be a game that is obviously going to draw a lot of attention. And I'm trying to put it in perspective because Mike Krzyzewski, I mean, I remember the NCAA tournament where they do before the national championship game. And I don't know if people remember, I think it was a Bud Light commercial that they did back in the 90s. And it was a guy getting off of a plane and you got the limo drivers out there and they're holding up the signs for, with your name on it to go get on your limo or to go get in your car or whatever. We don't do that now. I think we just Uber. But with all that being said, it was like some commercial before the NCAA national championship game, and it was like that, and it's Krzyzewski, and it's some guy getting off the plane thinking he's going to get Krzyzewski's limo, and he's trying to pronounce Krzyzewski's name. Again, it's like midnight. I don't know if anybody remembers this. Maybe I'm just crazy, but the bottom line is that was like my introduction because of his name into Mike Krzyzewski. I was probably 11, 12, 13 years old, and I remember watching that kind of pregame commercial or pregame introduction and going, oh, and my father explained to me how good Krzyzewski was, telling me about Leitner and Johnny Dawkins.
Pre-Krzyzewski?
They were good. They weren't bad.
Okay.
Bill Foster went and won a national
I
championship.
could not name you another Duke coach.
Yeah, Bill Foster. Well, the reason I know Bill Foster and the reason a lot of South Carolina fans maybe remember Bill Foster is because specifically Bill Foster is because he left Duke to come to South Carolina. He was the person who followed Frank McGuire, who obviously had led South Carolina to a lot of success.
He wasn't fired from Duke. He just
left. And as a matter of fact, if you've watched,
so South Carolina was a better job than Duke at one time.
They did not go into maybe people who can remember that period a little bit more and can offer insight. I was born in 1982. Some of the information that I've picked up has come in the last few weeks from the docu-series on the ACC network, The Tournament. And it talked about what I'm kind of discussing now here in terms of Bill Foster, who was at Duke, was coaching at Duke, and basically the season before he took over at South Carolina, he ended up like I guess told his this is per the docuseries on the ACC network, again, The Tournament. They were having an average season. They were doing okay. They were 7-7 as I'm looking now. They were 7-7. And what he told them prior to the ACC tournament is, hey guys, I'm taking another job. Before the ACC tournament, he said, I'm taking another job, so let's all go out in this thing together. And they won the ACC tournament. They go to the NCAA tournament, and they go on, and I think they won the national championship that year. I think they won, and then he left. I know they got to the final game. I don't know if they won or not. I've always been under the impression that he won one national championship, but maybe I'm wrong in that. But the bottom line is that he then came to South Carolina and had really kind of a mediocre career, 92-79. He was 13-27 in the Metro Conference in the 3 years the Gamecocks were in there. And then he went to Northwestern when South Carolina hired George Felton. But the bottom line, I guess, there is, Krzyzewski took over for Bill Foster coming in from Army. And you look at what he's done, and look, there's no other way to put it. Certainly his career has been one of the greatest in coaching, regardless of professional or collegiate sports, regardless of sport, football, baseball, basketball. I mean, if you talk about the all-time greatest coaches, if you had a Mount Rushmore, four names of all-time greatest coaches.
College coaches.
No.
Just all coaches?
All coaches.
That's so hard.
Who would 803-404-6100. You got four coaches. I don't care of sport. You got Red Auerbach, I think I said that correctly, in for the Celtics. Krzyzewski. I'm naming names. I'm not putting. I mean, again,
Lombardi.
Would you put Saban, Lombardi?
Yeah.
Would you put Belichick up there? If you've got four,
if you've got to pick the bottom line is that, like, in the NFL, you talk about what? Shula, Walsh, Lombardi, Belichick. Those are probably
I don't know.
names.
People are, who just passed a month ago, John, or was it a month and a half ago? John Madden, and people talk about him up there.
More for just what he's done for the game, but not just as a coach. One Super Bowl, I think he had. I don't think he had more than one.
No.
But anyway, college football, it's Saban, and then the fact that K's in that discussion is kind of enough said. But I was curious. Like, I just assumed that I know that he built Duke into what it is today, which is a perennial contender and one of the blue bloods in college basketball and just an absolute machine. But I didn't know what he inherited. I just kind of associate who built what program. And I'm like, okay, John Thompson, Georgetown, Coach K, Duke, Wooden, UCLA, Dean, UNC.
Yeah, it's in basketball.
Giselle, Maryland. But I didn't know if it was like a dumpster fire that he inherited and just built it into a powerhouse, or if it was actually like a great program before he got there.
Dogman weighs in with a good one that I just completely left out. Phil Jackson.
Yeah.
Phil Jackson. Yeah. Jacob weighs in his four, or Coach K, Saban, Belichick, and Popovich. But wouldn't you have Phil Jackson ahead of Popovich?
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
803-40.
That's a very summary topic, though. That's a good topic to,
It's just
put on the
well,
back burner.
I just as we talk about Mike Krzyzewski and where he is, not just in college basketball, but overall, I think it's kind of interesting. 803-404-6100. Let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines real quick. Gene wants to weigh in on coaches. Gene, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
I'm doing good. Belichick and Saban, but John Wooden would have been one to me, and Phil Jackson was the other one.
Okay. That's pretty good one. I appreciate the phone call, Gene. Yeah, we'll get more into that. Maybe just send them in. You're all right. It's a good summer topic, but because of the retirement of Belichick, because of the retirement of Krzyzewski, it is kind of an interesting topic. We will move on, though, get into a little bit of the NFL Combine. A lot happened there yesterday. We'll get Patrick's recap. We'll get back into the baseball series as well. Coming up, 8:05 this morning, Chris Deering talking high school championship weekend, 8:30. Brian Jeffco joins us to talk about the baseball series. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Nah, but Bear Bryant can't be on that list anymore because Saban is now the greatest in college. Nah.
2 from one school?
No, because it's unanimous. And if it's not unanimous, then the people that disagree are wrong. Football, NFL, it's debatable. Like, I would say Belichick, but some people still might argue other people. I think it's pretty unanimous that Belichick is the greatest coach in NFL history, but does this kid on Stanford named Kerr have any relation to Steve Kerr?
I don't know.
Oh, he's on Arizona.
Yeah, and Steve Kerr was from Arizona, so I'm going to just lean yes.
Kid? Child? Kerr Jr.? Oh, never mind.
You had on his desk the state newspaper from February 6th, 1989, which is the day that Joe Morrison, the South Carolina coach, or the next morning that they reported on Joe Morrison passing away of a heart attack the night before.
Interesting. Bill, I think that there's no one named Kerr on Arizona, but they have a Kerr Krisa who's from Estonia, and I think he might have his first name on his jersey. So, no Steve Kerr children on Arizona.
If he found this commercial, that is hilarious. Wow.
What?
This is.
Is this Jason Kidd? Jason, baby. Hey, forget about the first. Why don't you transfer over to Duke? Hi. Yeah.
I think you got to turn that up. Just turn your volume off.
4 a.m. Wake up call. Yeah, no, it's okay. First time in a limo, coach.
Ah.
First time without my good pal Bobby Knight.
Somebody found the commercial that Bill was talking about. That actor was in Oceans, by the way. I'll figure out that guy's name.
Yeah, I forget. That was the old. Oh, I think it was a Bud Light commercial.
What is happening?
Oh, Sonny finished. Ozark.
Eddie Jemison is that actor's name.
Huh?
Eddie Jemison is that actor's name.
Of that guy? All right.
I recognize him from Oceans.
Two weeks from today, Patrick Pratt and I will be bleary-eyed, maybe slightly hungover. I will be, maybe. I don't know. It's a Friday. 2 weeks from today. What's 2 weeks from today, genius?
It must be like a Monday or a Tuesday. If you say
No,
you're
not
gonna
a
be
Monday, a
hungover.
Tuesday. Tuesday would be, I see where
Okay.
yeah. 2 weeks from today, though, Jen.
I'm your favorite, aren't I?
You are my favorite. So much more than the guy to my right. You're my favorite producer in that room that you're in right there. By far. Yeah, no doubt. All right, back to what I was saying. 2 weeks from today, Patrick and I and Jen will all be celebrating the first morning after the first night of the NCAA basketball tournament. We'll be doing it at the Windermere Club in Blythewood. It'll be the 2022 1075, the game Spring Open, Friday, March 18th at the Windermere Club. Again, 10 a.m. shotgun start, two-person teams, $200 per team, two-person captain's choice. We'll have raffle prizes closest to the pin, $1 million hole sponsored by Buford Lending, plus breakfast and lunch. If you go ahead and sign up, 1075thegame.com, where you can go for registration information. All entries get a free golf membership at the Windermere Club until March 31st. So go ahead and sign up, 1075thegame.com. Again, it's 2 weeks from today, Friday, March 18th at the Windermere Club. Two-person team, so all you got to do is find one other person. Maybe Jen and I will play together. That'd be kind of entertaining. I'll tell you what, that would be good to raffle off that, where somebody gets to play like in a foursome with you and I. I'm sure we could entertain somebody for 18 holes.
I'm sure, especially since I haven't swung a club in months.
I got a feeling once you hit me 4 times, you would be right back on your game.
That could be. It'd be fun for me.
Yeah, just like a punching bag, I would be. Go to 1075thegame.com for registration information. You'll check it out. We'll have a good time. 2 weeks from today is when that will take place. Taking place right now is the NFL Combine, Patrick. And yesterday, the quarterbacks threw. You've been grizzled off air. You looked up. Kenny Pickett was throwing with a glove on. How did everybody perform yesterday from your take? And also, you mentioned you would be in favor of your Commanders, your Washington Commanders, taking Malik Willis, who I think is maybe the most intriguing quarterback prospect in this because of him being at Liberty. Hugh Freeze has done really good things. I like Matt Corral to have the most successful career out of these quarterbacks. I think he's the most NFL ready. but you like Malik Willis. And how did everybody else perform yesterday?
I would say the only two people that performed really well or Malik Willis, I would say people are impressed by him. He can make every throw. He is the most intriguing prospect because he is the most gifted physically. He's the best athlete, and he's got the biggest arm. I mean, he's got an absolute hose. So he definitely has the most untapped potential. Desmond Ritter had a good day, basically just because he ran a 4.5 in the 40, which is he was scooting. I mean, he was faster than Mahomes and Russell Wilson, is what people are saying. But that doesn't mean that he's Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray. Like those guys are 4.3 guys. Lamar Jackson arguably could have run below 4.3. I don't know what his time would have been, but I wish that he would have run at the combine. So that just means Desmond Ritter is a good athlete, a very good athlete for the position, but he doesn't have the crazy arm that these other guys have. I'm most intrigued by Malik Willis just because of the reasons I just said, and then Sam Howell, because Sam Howell also is the only true junior of the group. So Desmond Ritter is a fourth-year senior, could have gone pro last year, improved his stock a little bit this year, and he's got a lot of moxie and was a great leader for Cincinnati. He's fiery. I like him. But Kenny Pickett and Matt Corral are both 23 years old. So they played a lot of football and really didn't play at an elite level until their fifth years, which is a little bit concerning. Kenny Pickett was good, not great. He was very good last year. I think I'm completely out on Kenny Pickett, though. If the Commanders take Kenny Pickett at 11, I will be kind of bummed. And I just don't think that he's going to be good. I think he was a good college quarterback with a good offense, had a couple good playmakers around him, but is just not special. And his hands measured in at 8.5. They thought they were going to be 8.25. They're 8.5. So the stretching kind of worked, I guess, but they're still tiny. And only the third smallest hands ever measured at the combine at any position is what I saw.
Oh.
So they're very small hands.
Do I really want to know how they stretch hands?
I mean, I think they really just do exercises every day, like pulling on the fingers, that when you do stretch them out,
You don't
get
have
the
to like
best.
hang from a bar or anything like that, you know.
Could be. There's probably a whole industry for that.
How does hanging from a bar
Just
stretch your hands?
Because it pulls on these fingers that way. But it doesn't
Like,
do
I
any,
can see
it
stretching
doesn't do
your
anything for the
arms.
thumbs.
I can see it stretching
Yeah.
your arms, but if
Right.
your hands are wrapped around the bar,
Yeah, but start stretching
mean,
this
like-
part out, and then do other things to stretch.
what do you think? What do you think? You think these people are Spider-Man? They're clinging with their hands.
No, they
But,
would
like-
have to be around to a point, but
I'm thinking of ways that you can sleep with your hands
that's
stretched as
true.
wide as possible. It's like
I have
I
had
don't
to do something similar to that.
Yeah, I don't know what people did with their baseball gloves, but there's tricks for the baseball gloves, but I would always put like a softball in the
Right.
pocket of my lacrosse head, the
Mhm.
plastic part that would keep it stretched out. You just leave it overnight and it would slowly just stay out. But
Kind of like stretching a baseball mitt.
right.
Same
So I don't know
concept.
what you could do with your hands, if there's any way to just sleep with your hands extended as far as possible.
Jen says you've done that before.
What's that?
Did you say you had to do that before?
I
Like
had,
maybe
had like to keep your hand extended.
like
Yeah.
like after a surgery or
Mhm.
something.
Well, before trying to avoid surgery.
What is that? Like they give you like a glove, or I mean, you just
Yeah, like a splint.
okay.
That you.
So I guess that's what you would do.
Maybe you
Okay.
just sleep like that every day. But yeah, tiny hands. Don't love Kenny Pickett. Sam Howell, I'm intrigued by because the interesting thing about this class is that nobody's downside is their physical tools. Like everyone has all of the measurables and tools that you really need. Sam Howell throws a beautiful deep ball, probably the best deep ball in the class. It's just I don't know. People are kind of down on him because of this year, and it wasn't a bad year necessarily. It's just he didn't have any weapons, and I don't know. I'm just I don't if you ask me, are any of these guys going to be starting quarterbacks in 5 years when their rookie contracts are all expired, I would lean towards no. But if I have to take somebody at 11, give me the most upside. So give me Howell or Willis.
Okay. There you go. Yep. It'll be interesting. We'll continue to follow it as Patrick is all over it there. A lot going on. If you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. I think, are you with AJ on this? He says, I've already grown tired of the metrics craziness, but this hand stuff is beyond ridiculous. Can the guy make plays or not? That's all that matters. Hashtag get off my lawn from AJ. Are you with that? Like, just, hey, can the dude
No.
play, or are you buying into the hand theory?
It depends. When Joe Burrow had 9-inch hands and people said that's small, said, okay, but I don't really care. He's a stud. It's different when it's this small. And Kenny Pickett has had a bit of a fumbling problem, and the ball gets jarred loose, and he plays in Pittsburgh, and he needs the gloves to be able to grip the football because his hands are too small to really grip the football. And I know because my hands are bigger than Kenny Pickett's, and I've always felt like I have small hands and I can't grip a football. So just knowing how it feels for me to grip a football and then saying, okay, now make that football bigger because the NFL football is bigger than the college football and his hands are smaller than mine, it's hard to grip that football and throw it accurately. So just the real world application of this, I know how I feel holding an NFL football and it feels gigantic. So for him to have smaller hands than me and have to wear gloves to grip it to begin with, I can't see that not being a problem.
803-404-6100. We'll continue on. We'll get out to the Love Chevy phone lines, and we'll get back into some baseball and basketball discussion. Obviously, a lot of baseball discussion already this morning as we get ready for South Carolina and Clemson tonight at 7 o'clock, Founders Park, tomorrow at Segra Park over on Bull Street. Again, a reminder, we will be out there, sound and images, and 107.5 The Game will be over at the Battle of Bull Street tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon, broadcasting live before the Carolina Clemson game. There will be a fan fest that you can get out to. It'll be open to the public, so you can stop by and say hello. Hopefully, we'll see our buddy Lucas out there who is texting in. He can stop by and hang out at the fan fest and say hello to us as we broadcast from 10 a.m. to 12 noon tomorrow out at Segra Park, and then Sunday at Doug Kingsmore.
So Terrence texted in. This is the truth. Mike Vick, the only person to ever have hands as small as Kenny Pickett's at the combine.
And he was a pretty.
And he had some other tools that Kenny Pickett does not have.
Yeah, he had some wheels. He could
and one of the
move in
strongest
pocket.
arms we've ever seen.
Very true.
Absolute rocket. Kenny Pickett does not have that.
Good call on that. 803-404-6100. We'll get back into some baseball. Brian Jeffcoat coming up at 8:30 this morning. We'll catch up with him. And again at 8:05, Chris Deering from Prep Red Zone Network to talk about the high school basketball championships. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. This day and age, when you go to make a big purchase, you want to feel comfortable with who you're making the purchase from. And purchasing a vehicle these days, whether it's a truck, a car, an SUV, you want to feel confident in the people you are buying from. And at Love Chevrolet, that's exactly what you're going to get. The great folks at Love Chevrolet have continued to take care of their customers for 60 years here in the Midlands, and nothing plans to change. That's right. They continue to take care of you by not tacking on extra add-ons to the price of their cars, trucks, or SUVs, not in this time of high demand and low supply. Nope. Instead, they make sure that their prices are still well below the competition. Go find out for yourself what I'm talking about. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. And again, one thing, not just the price is how great, how much Love Chevrolet stands out. It's the customer service. It's the fact that when you go there, somebody is ready to help you. They're knowledgeable about the situation. They're knowledgeable about how a car, truck, or SUV can help you with your everyday commute, and what technology, which is incredible what they put in vehicles these days, what technology is in there, and again, how that will make your commute to and from work, to and from a practice for your kids that much easier. So go visit Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or you can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads. Yeah, there is. York, we touched on it. Women's volleyball, beach volleyball, softball, baseball. Turn it down some. Busy weekend. Yep, Sideburn, don't worry. Maybe we'll get Jen to put that segment back up so that you can go to the podcast page and hear it all again.
You're watching on YouTube. You can rewind.
That's very true.
Any of you watching on YouTube can rewind if you need to. Did you see this video of Malik Willis handing out gear to the homeless guy?
I saw it scrolling through Twitter. I didn't look at like the whole video.
The homeless guy's smart because he's sitting right outside of St. Elmo's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's the bar, right?
That's the restaurant that is just notorious for everybody just goes there and
Yeah,
eats,
I thought it was a
shrimp
bar.
cocktail and waits for coaches so they can get inside info. So all the homeless of Indianapolis should be huddled around St. Elmo's this weekend.
The small hands discussion will be on the podcast page momentarily.
Excellent.
Good.
Thank goodness.
Right.
I did like the text we just got there that said Kenny Pickett does have big feet though, so
That cracked me up.
that was
yeah.
actually a good text. They should measure feet size. Offensive line, you don't want an offensive tackle with small feet. Can't set a good base.
That's right. Get knocked over.
Guarantee you Evan Neal's not walking around with size 12 shoes.
But don't you want to be able to have smaller feet so that you can kind of stay inside the lines if you're going along the sidelines?
It's true. Wide receivers, you do want to have small feet so you can be nimble in
Exactly.
tiptoe lines. I would be interested in the cleat sizes of everyone.
They don't put that out.
It's not measured at the combine, no.
That would seem important. I mean, I don't know. What do I know? What do I know? All right, back to what I was trying to do.
Yeah, Cybern, you actually did just ask about the two things that we have just touched on for this entire hour. I think the whole last segment before the hands discussion was a Coach K talk.
I love on Twitter putting something kind of stupid, and I don't know. I guess it's like that Twitter app where if you just it picks up any mentions of something. And I don't really like. I just yesterday, right before I did the final hour of the show, I put out a tweet just like promoting, hey, I was doing it. And on television, Iggy Azalea was on, and so I was just like, oh, I'll use her as an example. So I said, closing out the final hour of local programming on 107.5 The Game, and if you join along for the drive home, maybe I'll make it entertaining, or maybe I'll make you flip over to some Iggy Azalea music. She's good, right? Like last night, I get a tweet that's like, you need to listen to whatever song. Like it was some song. I was like, okay. And then somebody just retweeted Iggy today. The like, 803-404-6100, how you can weigh in this morning if you want to do so. Got a lot going on here as we get you ready for South Carolina Clemson tonight over at Founders Park is how you can go and experience that. I think it's sold. I'm pretty sure it's sold out. I would assume it's sold. I didn't even think to look at tickets for that. You would assume too.
I would have just assumed that it is, yes. I would assume. Maybe not tomorrow. I would not assume that tomorrow's sold out. I don't even know what the capacity is at Sager Park, but I would assume that both home games are sold out.
You would assume. I didn't even think to look because I'm stuck with soccer all weekend, so I didn't even bother checking out the ticket situation. Should be a fun weekend across the board. A lot going on, and you can even go check out some basketball if you want to. You'd have to go to Nashville. You'd have to go to Auburn. South Carolina basketball 1:00 tomorrow against Auburn. South Carolina women's team 1:00 today against Arkansas in the SEC tournament. They will be taking on Arkansas. That game you can hear right here on 107.5 The Game. Big day around the state. Also big day for Owen Martin. I think it's his 9th birthday today, as I'm told. So happy birthday to Owen. Hopefully the Gamecocks will get him a victory tonight against the Tigers. Will Sanders will be on the mound. We've talked a little bit about that throughout the morning. Let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone line. Scott is up next talking about quarterbacks. What's on your mind, Scott?
Hey guys, I watched some of the combine stuff yesterday, and I know there's a lot of people kind of down on Sam because of the year, but I mean, you know, I keep looking back at those first 2 years where he put up bigger numbers than Sunshine, the number one pick in the NFL, and he did lose 4,500 yards of offense to the NFL the year before, but still ended up with big numbers with nowhere near the talent level that Sunshine was throwing to or had blocking for him. And I just think when that kid gets to the NFL, I'm kind of glad he's not going to go to a bad team probably, because I think he'll put big numbers up. I think he'll end up being a really, really solid NFL quarterback. And I think you hit it on the head. He's got the best long ball I've seen in a long time, and the accuracy and just the ability to get it there. But am I wrong on this, guys? Am I overthinking this thing? But I mean, nobody really talks about the numbers he put up when he actually had a little bit of talent around him. And let's be honest, it still wasn't Clemson talent that he was throwing to and threw those kind of numbers up.
No, you're not wrong. And he also has not had a good offensive line. North Carolina and Clemson, for some reason, have just not been putting out offensive linemen. It's the weirdest thing about the Dabo Swinney era is just no offensive linemen to speak of going pro, but they have every other position just loaded up with talent. But yeah, if you go back to last year, this time last year, and you're looking at this quarterback class, people were talking about Sam Howell and Spencer Rattler both potentially being top 5 picks. And it's just this last year, people kind of soured on him because it's recency bias. That's just the way it is. But he did lose the 2 NFL running backs, and Michael Carter and Javonte Williams, both of whom had really good rookie years. Michael Carter in New York with the Jets, and Javonte Williams in Denver, and then De'Ami Brown, who's now in Washington, didn't do much as a rookie, but had a really big year last year and was one of the best deep threats in college football. And then Daz Newsome, who's more of a gadget player, but still was very talented as a college player. So to throw him out there and say you're playing with freshmen and backups, basically, good luck. It was expected that he would take a step back, but everyone looked at this year for Sam Howell as a prove it year. Like, hey, if you can light it up with this around you, with very little talent around you, then that will be what we need to see to say, hey, this is a top 5 guy. But that didn't really happen, and it's hard to blame him. And very few guys probably would have completely lit the world on fire with what he was surrounded with. But that's just why he's not being talked about as a generational lock, first round pick, all that stuff. But physically, I'm very intrigued by him. I said he throws a beautiful deep ball, beautiful deep ball, and he's a good runner.
Well,
he's not a freak athlete like Malik Willis, but he kind of runs like a bull, and he can definitely move the chains with his feet.
yeah, like I said, I'm excited to see. Like I said, I'm kind of glad that he isn't going to go to a horrible team, and it won't surprise me to see him be a lot better in the NFL than people are really giving him credit for right now. But anyway, I'll jump off and listen, man. Thanks.
Appreciate the phone call.
I wouldn't say it's a lock that he's going to get drafted by a good team. I mean, I'm just so interested to see how this draft plays out, and it's been 9 years since the quarterback has not been drafted in the top 10. That was EJ Manuel was taken at 16 by the Buffalo Bills. That was the last time a quarterback made it out of the top 10. So I just have no idea. Are the Panthers going to kickstart this thing and get the ball rolling, and people are going to be trading up to just get their hands on a quarterback, or will Washington at 11 have their pick of the litter? I don't know how this is going to play out. People aren't super high on the quarterbacks, but it's also not a great draft class anyway. So in some years where you might be missing out on a blue chip player by taking a shot at a quarterback, that might not be the case this year. There's only a handful of blue chip guys.
803-404-6100. We'll continue on with that. Get back into some baseball discussion as well. South Carolina and Clemson. Again, Will Sanders on the mound tonight as we count down the hours. The Gamecocks 7-1. The Tigers 8-0 over at Founders Park. I got a feeling our buddy Jan Bennett is pulling up right about now to start the tailgating, and I'm sure some of you may have already started a little bit earlier. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
think you're right, Mark. We just got a text saying they're $250 on Ticketmaster for the Sacred Park tickets. So that would lead me to believe it's sold out.
I think we broke on time to keep Jen happy. Oh my goodness. You probably just talking about the tickets for at Sacred Park.
Yep.
I heard you talking about tickets. Really? The game starts at 7, right? This guy's not being a jerk. He just literally doesn't listen to the show.
What? Which
This
guy?
864 number. This says, what time does game start tonight? I mean, I've only said it.
Probably just tuned in.
Okay, I did. Maybe. Okay, well, we've about got it covered, buddy. I don't know if we'll go as long with Deering today because of
Jeff Coat.
Guess he'll be able to cover the championships. I guess I should pull up that. Apologize. I know it looks weird. I was doing some self-promotion. Oh, that a boy. That a boy. We've got 4 Roses at the house and Woodford and Evan Williams. Always keep the Evan Williams handy. And I've still got my bottle of Crown that I'm not opening. The French oak, French cask, French oak. What is it? Do I have a picture? I can go back to my pictures. I was doing some self-promotion on social media, and I stumbled across old pictures of my son playing soccer from when he was like, I don't know how old he was, actually. What year is that? 2018. 4 years ago. So he would have been 5. Good grief. All right. Have we touched on the major topics? We did the combine. We did the Patino thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Really good weekend of sports. Obviously, here in the Midlands, you'll have South Carolina baseball versus Clemson. The Tigers coming to town tonight, 7 o'clock at Founders Park. Should be a pretty good one over there tomorrow. Sagra Park, site of the battle at Bull Street. Again, a reminder, we'll be out there broadcasting from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. You can come by. There's a fan fest. It'll be free to the public. You can stop by and say hello. I believe our good buddy Terry Ford will be out there. Sounds like we got our answer. It sounds like Jay Phillips is indeed the Batman, and that is a movie you want to go see this weekend. Sports is not the only thing going on. The Batman released last night, today.
Last night, yeah. getting rave reviews.
Really?
Yeah, like really good reviews.
This
And
one's pretty dark, isn't it? Is this
it
one?
looks very dark, yeah. And Robert Pattinson was an interesting casting for Batman, but he's kind of had a huge resurgence since he was kind of typecast as a childhood, teenage love interest type of deal. Because Twilight was not good. I mean, they weren't critically acclaimed movies, but he was a teenage heartthrob for a couple years and had to kind of take a break, make some indie movies, made some good indie movies, and now has kind of burst back onto the scene with first Tenet, the Christopher Nolan movie from last year, and now Batman. So I'm super interested to see this movie.
There's like 2 more Batman movies coming out, I think, over the next 12 months or 18
They
months.
can't stop making Batman movies.
Well, it's like one of them is Joker 2 and
Well, yeah, I don't know what Batmans are going to be involved.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's yeah. At this point, they should have just gone 007 on Batman and basically like just like he's always fighting somebody new,
Yeah.
like instead of making the same movie over and over and over.
While we're on the movie topic, I was trying to retweet Jen's tweet about the small hands discussion. Do you remember the Austin Powers clip, Jen? The Carney's line, "Small hands smell like cabbage." She's not even listening. She's got her mic on and she's not even listening.
She's not listening to us.
Not at all. Look at her. She's just completely zoned in.
Are you locked into the? Yeah, we're talking to you.
I'm sorry. I was editing some Gamecock Larry.
That's what we need. More Gamecock Larry.
Right?
Yeah.
Jen, I was saying that we need the Austin Powers clip, "Small hands smell like cabbage."
Oh, yeah.
Only 2 things in the world scare me. One is nuclear war. What's the other? Carnies. Circus folk. Small hands smell like cabbage.
Exactly.
It's such a great line.
Hour 3 next.
And the Bloody Dutch.
So do I, Gary.
The Flash.
But still better to have big hands. If you're gripping the back of the football, you can't grip it as well when you're getting hit. Be one thing if Kenny Pickett was just can't miss in every other regard other than hand size, but it's not really the case.
So just real quick, the what I was working on.
Let me finish, Bill. I want to congratulate you for your.
I just think there could be some fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's time to freshen up the liners a little bit.
They're having the hand size discussion on Good Morning Football right now.
Oh, I mean, it's a
No quarterback has been drafted in the first round since Michael Vick with smaller than 9-inch hands. Wait, no, 2003. Vick was 2001, right? What's this? I didn't say anything about this. I don't even know what that means.
So I ordered some of the new Girl Scout cookies this year. Those are the cinnamon toast crunch ones, basically.
Yeah, how are they?
They're solid. They're no peanut butter patties, mind you.
Can you still order?
I don't know if you can still order or not. That's a good question. I've got another order coming in. I got some last night. I mean, one of the orders that I had came in last night. The peanut butter, I got the peanut butter patties. We got the caramel delights. The whatever the cinnamon toast crunch ones are, and and I got the other new one that's I can't remember what it is, the Adventures or whatever.
All right. Bill, this thing that Travis sent, did you see anything about this?
No.
I'm reading this article. Big Game Football, a Dallas-based manufacturer of footballs, providing game balls specifically to fit the preferences of each quarterback, various shape and positioning configurations of the ball's laces, as well as alterations to the ball's stitching, stripe, and type of leather to fit the player's hand size and comfort. I don't even understand what this means. Can't have different footballs. Doesn't make any sense. I'm so confused by this.
Did you find the article?
Yeah, I'm watching the Twitter video on it too. Clemson football put it out. Custom fit footballs. Yes, that's a thing, and we've got them. How? Isn't there a standard size ball for? I know there's kicking balls that are different, but never heard of this. Yeah, this is amazing that this is allowed. Why is there not a standardized football? I guess it's just kind of how it is, because wasn't there something about the Nike basketballs too that people were having trouble getting used to in the NBA, or they changed the brand? Maybe there's just little nuances that are different.
I'm not sure. Final hour of the week is upon us. It's 8 a.m. Hope you're up and at 'em, heading to work. Hopefully by now you've probably dropped the kids off at school. I believe most schools now start at 7:40, 7:45-ish. I don't know of any actually that start at like 8:15. I'm sure there's a couple out there. Patrick, did the high school start at 8:15?
Yeah, like 8:10 or something.
They start at, I don't know, school times. Schools are so different. I mean, I'm about to go on an old man rant. I'll be 40 in now less than 2 months, 2 months from yesterday. And it feels
Seven.
like kids don't do homework nowadays. They're getting 4-day weekends every month.
But I'm sorry, 7:40, too early.
It is.
I just think that's too
My
early.
high school started at 7:30.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
Elementary school was 9 to 3:30. Middle school was 8:05 to 3 o'clock, and high school was 7:30 to 2:20.
That's the worst population to try to get up early. Is high school kids.
Yeah, but the idea was that the younger kids had to get home last, so that if like the high schoolers could get their younger siblings off the bus and whatnot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept.
There we go. Okay. So if you're up and at 'em, as I look over my left shoulder here on Gervais Street, it looks pretty. The sun is out. It was windy. I don't know if the wind is supposed to maintain through the rest of the day. It was very windy coming into Columbia this morning, but it's going to be a beautiful day. 7:00 tonight over at Founders Park. You've got Will Sanders throwing for the Gamecocks, 2-0 on the season, 3.0 ERA, 12 innings pitched. He's struck out 8, he's walked none. He'll go against sophomore Mac Anglin for the Tigers, also 2-0 on the season, 0.0 ERA. He's thrown 10 innings, struck out 14, and walked 5. It should be a great environment tonight. Sold out, Founders Park, Gamecocks and Tigers. You can get on over there. stadium opens at 6 p.m. The bus lots open at 5 to 5:30, so you can get over there. Again, we've been cutting up. Our good buddy Jan Bennett has weighed in. He says he's got his, I think he said Buffalo Trace, and I believe he said Woodford is what he is prepared to tailgate with. And I'm sure a lot of you are ready to get out to Founders Park on what, again, is expected to be a great day. The high today, as I look at my weather app,
I've only said it 55 times this morning. 69 degrees.
I've got 68. So I think you're inaccurate. 68 today.
Where's my Nerf gun?
68 today is what the high is expected to be, but should be, again, a great environment tonight. Patrick, we've kind of talked about it. This is a game in which, Will Sanders needs to get out there and establish momentum for the Gamecocks early on. The fan base needs to get into it in a baseball game, create it as much of a home field advantage as possible, and kind of go from there. And then, you know what? It's going to be a weekend in which somebody, Noah Hall, Wesly Sweat, maybe Aiden Hunter, Kate Austin, CJ Wines. I don't know. I don't know
either.
It could be somebody. Somebody needs to step up, though.
Some of the texts we get are funny.
Most are funny.
Mike D said, I don't know if this was like sarcasm or like kind of a shot, but he said, hey, did you know a MLS team has its debut game this Saturday? Were you going to mention it at all?
Okay.
Well, no, I didn't know that.
I
I wasn't going to mention it.
I did know that. Charlotte has its debut.
Okay.
Of course, again, with Austin playing soccer, I'm now more in tune with what's going on around the world. I did know it. But to answer your question, Mike, no, I was not going to mention Charlotte.
Should we?
They're playing. They're
playing the LA Galaxy.
They're playing the Galaxy. Charlotte FC is playing the Galaxy at Bank of America Stadium. Tickets are actually, I think, we were talking about tickets. I mean, I looked. Somebody said earlier on, I believe, our text line that, or maybe they said it on the live stream, that Ticketmaster has tickets going for South Carolina baseball tomorrow for $252. Tickets this weekend for Duke, North Carolina.
3 G's.
There, yeah, 3 dimes is what you're gonna have to put out there for that. And then the I don't know. I think it's just Charlotte FC, I believe. I don't think they have a mascot. They're taking on the Galaxy, and it's a pricey little ticket as well to go and check out the first game.
Sweet.
There.
I will not be there.
No, I got to admit that's.
Or will I watch it?
We might have Tony Annan on in the near future. I've been tweeting back and forth with him. Great guy for South Carolina soccer, but no, I wasn't. Did not think about the Charlotte FC opening.
Watch the MLS. I'm an elitist when it comes to soccer. I work late, so I get off and I can't get up, but if I get off at 5 a.m., I'm not going to watch a 7:30 a.m. soccer game on Saturday morning. But back in the day, I would wake up early sometimes and throw on an English Premier League game from time to time. I'm more interested in that, but no, I can't. I can't get into MLS.
There you go. 803-404-6100 is how you can join us this morning. But we need to get out the Corley Pools High School highlights of the week. And a man who was on the scene last night, I believe. He works hard. He's been covering high school sports for, I think, 30 years. I think he covered me when I won a state championship, and now he's covering more state championships. Chris Deering joining us this morning. Chris, was a pretty fun night over there at the 5A Boys State Championship last night as Fort Dorchester and Ridgeview hooked up.
Yeah, I actually was not there, but I did watch it online last night. A really impressive performance by Ridgeview to bring their 4th title in the last 5 years home. They jumped out to a 22-point lead at the half, and then Fort Dorchester, to their credit, did dwindle it down. They got it within 6 late in the game, but Ridgeview made enough plays there at the end to win a title. A lot of storylines in that one. Eric Stoneman, the coach at Ridgeview, his last game, he's going to take over the Oak Hill program that we all know about and talk about regularly here. A big move for him. I want to say, I hope he's listening this morning. I know he listens a lot. He's been great. He's been in the Columbia area for 6 years, and he's treated the media members. He's welcomed us to the Bash over at Ridgeview every year. And I just can't thank him enough for everything he's done for Midlands basketball. I mean, he's put that Ridgeview program on the map, and you got to consider them one of the top, overall programs in the state at this point with what he's done there. and I wish him the best at Oak Hill, and can't wait to follow his career there. He's following a legend in Steve Smith, but he coached under Coach Smith at Oak Hill, so can't wait to see what he does with that program. And they're a little bit down this year, so I think Coach Stoneman will get them back where they expect to be year in and year out. And then he had a not an overwhelming game last night, but he did enough to win a championship. I think he finished with, what was it, 17 and 13 or 17 and 11, 17 points, 11 rebounds. So a solid effort from him. But like we talked about going into the game, the supporting cast, I thought they've stepped up and played well. Xavier Moultrie had 13 points, and just a big win for Ridgeview and the start of the championship weekend.
Well, let's ask you about that real quick here as it pertains to G.G. Jackson, because now the attention will turn for both his future and also, Chris, a little bit of South Carolina's future as it pertains to Frank Martin. I think certainly there seems to be a little bit of a tie-in with what the future may hold for Frank as it pertains to Gigi. So what do you hear? What is kind of the feeling that will transpire here over the next few weeks? As I did see last night that Gigi will make an announcement in the next 2 to 3 weeks. What are you kind of understanding could end up happening here?
Well, I saw the timeline is the next 2 to 3 weeks, but I will tell you, they sort of kept things close to the vest here as it's gotten closer. It's still on the table. I thought at one point that this was taken off, but it's still on the table that he could reclassify and come out this year. So a lot of decisions have to be made by him and his family, and it's a great family. I've talked to his dad before. So I expect them to make the right decision for Gigi and what his future holds. But you're right. I think a lot of it does tie into the future of South Carolina basketball. I've heard different stories, but I will tell you from the best source that I've talked to about it, I definitely think South Carolina is well in the mix. If I'm going to be honest, I'm almost to the point to almost say if it's not South Carolina, I will be a little bit surprised. But you battling Duke and North Carolina and Georgetown, some really, blue bloods of college basketball. And if Frank Martin and his staff can, I know the whole staff was over there last night in Aiken to watch the game. If they can bring in G.G. Jackson, I think they definitely get an extension and will be around for another year or two. And I think that'll be a good thing for this basketball program.
What does G.G. Jackson do for you think? I think it's big. I think it opens the door. The longtime perception has been that South Carolina basketball players, a lot of them need to go out of the state to be successful because it's South Carolina's struggled. They've landed some, certainly, but it's not like Clemson has racked up in-state kids when you talk about guys like L.J. Peak and Devontae Schuler and Tevin Mack and so forth and so on. You've seen those guys. Devin Downey left the state to start. Zam Frederick left the state to start. I go back to Major Wingate. You remember him down at Wilson.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess the bottom line is, like, I think this is big from a standpoint of a kid like this turning down Duke and North Carolina and showing that you can go to South Carolina. He does need to be successful there, but that you can go and accomplish all your goals and your dreams as it pertains to your basketball profession, and you can do it by staying right here in your hometown.
Yeah, and I think they've sold him on that very well. I know he's talked to some former players, PJ Dozier, who's from right here in Columbia. Chris Silva, I know, has talked to him. I just think they've sold the program in the right way. And really and truly, the NIL changes a lot of things, in my opinion, because you have a local kid that really could cash in on something like that. Where you go to Duke or North Carolina, you probably just another face in the crowd. But if he comes here, he is the face of the program. And I think that's a big deal with the NIL situation these days. So I think the staff and everybody involved has sold it the right way to Gigi and his family. And, the next 2 to 3 weeks will be really interesting to see what he does. I'm willing to bet we probably won't hear much out of him over these next 2 or 3 weeks. He probably wants to lay low a little bit, celebrate with his teammates that he just won a state championship. But I expect that decision to come, and for the people here in Columbia, hopefully it's a chance for a kid to stay home because, like you said, perception is Frank has missed out on a lot of the major plays in South Carolina, and um, that's a fair assessment. I think. I don't think that's being unfair to anybody, and this would just be a big coup for him to get Gigi to come to South Carolina. And when you get somebody like that to come, other players across the country take notice and they want to come as well. So I think that's where we are right now in that situation.
He's Chris Deering joining us this morning as he does each and every week for the Corley Pools High School headlines of the week. Let's go through a few of these other games here. Rock Hill last night in the 5A women's game, 5A girls game, they win over Somerville. Did you get a chance to observe much of that?
I tuned in right at the end of that one. I did see that Rock Hill hit 10 3-pointers. That's sort of what they were known for coming into the game. Really speedy team, quick team, likes to get up and down the floor as well. I think a lot of people looked at that Rock Hill team. They've been number one in the Coaches Bowl most of the year. I think a lot of people expected them to be there and win it all, and they were able to follow through on that and win it. And big win for that program. It's been a long time since they won a state championship, so to get back to the top was big for them. And Somerville hadn't won one in a while. Good run for them in the playoffs, but just didn't have enough last night.
Tomorrow night, the 4A state championship local team, AC Flora, home of current Gamecock James Reese. They'll play Wilson at USC Aiken. The girls' side will be Westside and North Augusta. Thoughts on those two games?
Well, I will be there all day tomorrow, so I am looking forward to getting there and covering all 4 games tomorrow. And I think the 2 boys games tomorrow, AC Flora and Wilson and Gray Collegiate York Prep, it does not get much better than that. Excuse me, hold on just a second. Excuse me.
Stay healthy over there. We need you healthy if you're going to be there all day tomorrow, please.
Yeah, I'm going to be there all day. I'll be tweeting and talking and everything, so I need to be healthy tomorrow. But Wilson is coached by Carlos Powell, another in-state product who did play at South Carolina. And that team has taken on his personality. As people remember him at South Carolina, he was a go-getter, and as he said in his post-game interview after they won the lower state title, he's got a bunch of dogs, and they're going to come and fight AC Flora from the tip. And I like this AC Flora team. We've talked about them a lot this year. They got to control the pace, I believe. I do think Flora has a little bit of size advantage on the inside, so it'll be interesting to see what type of game plan they put together to try to combat what Wilson does best. And looking forward to that one. And then the girls' game, Westside and North Augusta, that's just 2 perennial powers in 4A. They've been there before, and I can't wait to see them. There's a fan we've named the Sizzler. He's a North Augusta fan, and if he's not there tomorrow, that would be the biggest disappointment of the weekend for me. I usually video him and put him on Twitter every year. He's got a lot of good things to say, so keep your eye out for that one. And back to Gray Collegiate and York Prep. I said it earlier this week. I think Gray Collegiate has been under the radar a little bit this year, and that's a little bit surprising considering they won 3 state championships before last year. Just didn't get there last year. They played a classic against York Prep in the playoffs over at Allen University last season. It was a last-second shot that from half court by York Prep that just rimmed out that gave Gray a chance to go on to the upper state finals. But I expect this game to be one of the best. Another former South Carolina player coaches at York Prep and Larry Davis. So should be. I'm looking forward to both of those boys games tomorrow. That'll be some of the best basketball you'll see all weekend, I believe.
He's Chris Deering joining us as he does every Friday for the Corley Pools High School highlights of the week. You can follow him, as he mentioned. He'll be out there all day tomorrow following all those great state championship games. Tonight, 2 really good ones. Keenan and Camden. This is one that quite frankly, Chris, you've called for several weeks now, and maybe even going back to January. This is a game I think maybe just in terms of anticipation, one of the more highly anticipated games. It's on the girls' side. The 3A state championship, 6:00 tonight down at USC Aiken, and it features a lot of really good players, some really good coaches, and should be a high-level game.
It really should. Joyce Edwards at Camden, the top player in the 2024 class, and Malaysia Fulwiley, one of the, if she's not the top, she's in the top 5, I believe, of the 2023 class. They're good friends. They're AAU teammates. They know a lot about each other. but I was watching the press conferences earlier this week, and they both mentioned it's not a one-on-one battle. It's their team against the other team, and I think the key in this one might be who steps up the most. And outside of those two, and there's a kid from Keenan. I saw them quite a few times this year. I can't remember her first name. Her last name is Lewis, but she's really good. She might be the determining factor in this game because she's probably going to draw the assignment of trying to slow down Joyce Edwards in the middle as well. So that's could be a good matchup, and it has been highly anticipated. I think a lot of people looked at these two teams as early as January and thought this might be what we see come March, and that both teams have held serve. They've had a couple close games along the way, but we are where we expected to be on this one, and I expect this to be a great game, a great atmosphere. I hope both teams travel well, and a good chance to see some of the top high school talent in the country, not just in the state, in the country in that game. So I advise people to watch. Watch online if you can't get over to Aiken. There's a bunch of different ways to watch this championship weekend on TV.
3A boys features Orangeburg Wilkinson, and I remember my time back then. They were a 4A school. We would play them at Lexington every year. I remember my junior year running into Alex Barron's, I believe, knee late in the game, and he was standing straight up, and I was standing straight up, and he still that was, I think, much. He was a full foot taller than me. I remember back then, but they're in the state championship tonight as well.
Yeah, it's been a while. Willie Thomas, who's coached at a bunch of different programs around the state. He's coached at Lower Richland. He's coached at Swansea here locally. This is his fourth team he's taken to a state championship. So obviously you got to put Willie Thomas up there with one of the great coaches in the state of South Carolina. So I expect, we talked about OW a little bit this year when they played Brooklyn Casey, and they're going to press about the time they get off the bus. And I think Blue Ridge will be ready for that. Blue Ridge has one of the top players in the state in Justin Bailey. He's going to USC Upstate. And I'll tell you, I've covered Zach Norris at Keenan since the early 90s. I mean, it's been a long time. Me and Zach go way back. And I've always known Zach, he was never going to let one player beat him. And in the upper state championship, Justin Bailey beat Keenan. It was a close game, but Justin Bailey scored 38 points. So I did not get to see that game. So we'll probably be tuning in tonight to watch Justin Bailey a little bit. And he's an exciting player. He does a lot of everything. And that's just a good matchup that should be I think that one's going to be close. And Bailey and, OW's got Jordan Simpson, an all-state player. Just a great all-around matchup, I believe.
Chris, we appreciate it. Hope you have a great time. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at cdeering82 is the way to do that. We will catch up with you next week, talk a little baseball, but also look ahead to some spring football and recap the weekend that was in the state championship games.
Sounds perfect. You guys have a great weekend.
Take care. He's Chris Deering with Prep Red Zone Network. Does a fantastic job. Follow him on Twitter at cdeering82. Glad he is a part of our program each and every week and keeps us updated on what's going on locally with the high school season, and certainly should be a lot of fun. Did you ever lacrosse? Did you ever play for a state championship? Did you ever get that opportunity?
No, I was a public school, and we were like more of the country school, and we were one of the few schools that had kids that had never played before. So state championship in lacrosse in Maryland is like the teams that win the state championship. It's all D1 guys.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because Maryland is the best lacrosse state in the country. So.
And what's the big lacrosse game this weekend?
Maryland Notre Dame for me is the big monster lacrosse game.
And that's the 2 versus 4?
No, Maryland's number 1. Notre Dame just lost to number 3 Georgetown, so they probably dropped out of the top 5, but they're still top 10.
There you go.
Both national championship contenders.
Is there any other big games we should all be aware of?
There's a couple. I'll look at the schedule, but I'm just locked into Maryland lacrosse right now.
Okay.
Maryland lacrosse is like one of my 5 favorite teams to watch.
There you go. We got the lacrosse covered. State championship high school basketball weekend. Good luck to all the boys and girls, the coaches out there that are going to participate. Should be a lot of fun. 803-404-6100. We will get back into the weekend series against Clemson when we return. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. That time of the year when you're going to have a big watch party, probably for a big basketball tournament next weekend or the weekend after or the weekend after. Well, you get the point. It's that time of the year to get your house ready for watch parties. And to do that, you need to call Zero Res. You need to keep the house clean. You want people coming over to a clean house. And Zero Res, with their patented ZR water technology, I'm telling you, it keeps your home insanely clean. It does not leave a sticky, soapy residue behind either. So if you're looking to keep the rugs, the towel, the upholstery insanely clean, there's only one group to turn to. That would be Zero Res. You can call them today, 803-262-4020. You can get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $109. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner, and 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. So how about that? All you got to do is remember my name, Bill Gunner, and 107.5 The Game. You can get your hallway cleaned for free. So right now, 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $109. And again, mention my name, Bill Gunner, 107.5 The Game. That's all you got to do. You get a hallway cleaned for free. 803-262-4020. You can schedule a line. ZeroResColumbia.com is the way to do that. I'm telling you what, that ZR water technology, absolutely insane how clean it will keep your house. Find out for yourself by scheduling a cleaning today. 3 rooms of carpet clean for $109. And again, when you mention my name, Bill Gunner, 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway clean for free. 803-262-4020 or schedule a line, ZeroResColumbia.com. Spell it backwards or forwards. Zero Res. It's the right way to clean. That is what I heard in programming, is I think what Jay said, that they're doing a shortened show today.
Yeah, shortened show, 45 minutes. So jealous. That is the problem with the morning show. I'm always jealous of Heath. He gets to miss a lot of shows for baseball, basketball, whatever. And now Jay's getting to do a 45-minute show today because Brad comes on 15 minutes before for pregame. So if the game's at 1, it's going to start at 12:45. So jealous. Brian wants to dispute that Maryland's the best state for lacrosse. I guarantee that's what he wants to dispute.
Yeah, RL, it is definitely always 3 full hours and sometimes 6
Yep.
hours. Oh, you see.
Yeah, I already know what he wants to dispute.
Okay, I'll let you two go at it.
No, I just said it on the left.
Oh.
Right, he wants. I guarantee he's going to want to dispute that I said Maryland's the best lacrosse state.
Oh, okay.
He's going to want to say it's New York.
All right. And we'll go to we'll get Brian up first, I guess, for the lacrosse thing, and then we'll go to this Chris guy, and then we'll break. Jen is hard at work.
What am I missing here?
What?
What am I missing here?
With what?
You said Cordrin said you don't want to hang out
Oh,
with
he's
us. We
just
don't.
joking that he's saying that you like the show, like only the hour show. Or
Oh
the
yeah,
TV
yeah,
shows.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's just joking.
Oh man, come in and do 45 minutes, and then be done with the
It
day.
was like yesterday was the weird. I mean, I've done them before. Like whenever you had to fill in for that when we used to have the 12-1
Yeah.
show, just like and so yesterday, like getting back home and doing a 1 hour show with 3 breaks.
Yeah.
You're just like literally, I didn't have enough time to. It was very strange.
I do have one thing I have to harass you about before we get rolling. For Chris Deering, I know it's the high school highlights, blah, blah, blah. But anything in particular that I need you guys are hitting on that GD guy?
GD Jackson recruitment, and I would just say
State chairman.
Basketball high school championship.
Okay, so two D's.
Yeah.
Then JACKO.
No, you're.
Yes, like
Did you ever hear back from Gary? Did he do a front like a
He said yes. He said we still do.
Okay, so we'll just right out. So like I said, I'll take these 2 phone calls, break, and then we'll get the jet. But we'll have him to the end of the show.
There you go. I like that. Yeah, that's good.
I don't know what that's been all morning.
Pro Football Talk just posted this article. The sight of Evan McPherson on the bench during the Super Bowl halftime remains a sore subject with the Bengals. Their special teams coach said that's a sore subject. That's a real sore subject. Why? He didn't miss a kick.
$8:30 on a Friday morning, March the 4th. We're creeping closer and closer to first pitch tonight over at Founders Park for the Gamecocks and the Tigers.
And can I, before we even get into that, I did want to alert you. The assistant principal from your child's middle school indicated that school starts at 8:10. You said you weren't aware of that you thought it was more 7:45.
No, and I appreciate that from my child's middle school.
The assistant principal.
Meaning the assistant principal is well aware of my child, which is great, and is well aware of who
I wondered
who her father is. Also neat.
Yeah.
That child has no chance.
Oh no, not at all. I mean, it started out with her, her lineage, but no. He did say, he said, "Would you please let him know that his child school starts at 8:10?" Because it sounded like you weren't aware. So
Well, in my child's defense, that's the daughter.
Mhm.
She likes to get there extra early to hang out with her friends.
Oh,
So
okay.
her
That
brother,
makes sense.
her 9-year-old brother, starts school at 7:45 at Centerville, and so the daughter likes to be there at like 7:15.
Social time.
What we're a
Mhm.
little agitated with the daughter with right now is she kind of demands we go through Starbucks for a beverage before, but she only takes 2 or 3 sips, which if you've ever purchased a Starbucks
not
drink,
worth it.
You got to cut that out.
you're not very happy with her when you have a whole. So we've
Yeah.
gotten to the point now we only buy
You got to
her.
get her off the Starbucks diet. I love Starbucks coffee. It's the best, but
Just get her a
it's
pup cup.
just there's no way it's worth the price. You can't be spending $5 on coffee every day. It's
No.
just not cost effective.
It's true. It's a good
Not
point.
responsible.
Anyway, so I was just supposed to alert
Thank
you
you.
as just so in case you didn't know when the school started for your kids.
Need to. I'm a very in tune father, as everybody can see.
Mhm.
803-404-6100. Speaking of a very in tune father and one of our favorite people on the program, Brian Glenn, the Village Idiot owner, who from time to time takes umbrage with things we say, and the only way for him to get his point across is to call in. And He has taken umbrage, supreme umbrage with
Before
something
he starts,
Patrick.
I
Yes.
told Bill off the air, I know what he's going to say, and he's wrong. I already know he's wrong. But go ahead.
You know, Long Island, Syracuse, and the Iroquois Reservation would like a word with your flippancy in saying that Maryland is the best lacrosse state.
Per capita.
Okay, well, maybe you didn't say per capita. I wouldn't have called in.
Well, Long Island has as many people as the state of Maryland just by itself. There's too many people in New York, you know.
Well, I mean, all right, you should have worded it better.
All right.
But while we're here, Bill, why don't you just pull up to Starbucks and say, all right, go ahead and in there and buy it with your money.
We're working on that.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on that. We're getting there. I'm not sure how often I'm allowed at a Starbucks because I messed up that pay it backwards thing. I think it's pay it forward, but pay it backwards or whatever.
Oh, pay for the person behind you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Like
Did you say the person behind me is going to pay for me?
Well, no, like there was like yeah, that's what I did. The person behind me, I got well, like that happened 3 times at the Lexington Starbucks where I would go up and they're like, "Oh, the person in front of you paid." Well, I'd never heard it. This was years ago. This wasn't like recently. This is like 7 or 8 years ago. And like I was like, "Man, I'm the luckiest person in the history of the world. People in front of me keep paying for me at Starbucks. This is awesome." And so like I would just get my coffee. Again, this was years ago. I'd get my coffee and I'd just speed off. And I always wondered why like the barista or whatever would look at me like, man, what a complete jerk.
Yeah, the whole idea is, hey, yours was comped, so you just pay for the next guy. And I agree, though. I would never do it. I'd just be like, lucky me. I'm out here.
And I never knew this. And so like there was 3. And finally one day I was like, man, you aren't gonna believe the Starbucks in Lexington. The people in front of you are always paying for your coffee. And somebody was like, you're a moron. It is a thing called pay it for or whatever, pay it forward, pay it back, whatever, where you cover the person behind you and then they cover the person behind you.
Free coffee at
and
this location.
Yeah, I was like, man, which is why I got addicted to Starbucks. So yeah.
That doesn't make any sense though. Because then now you're still paying for something, but you're not getting to choose what you're paying for.
It's a Russian roulette of food because basically the person behind you could be ordering for the office and now you've got basically
They at least give you an option and they'll say, okay, their bill is such and such.
I've learned to ask.
Yes.
Like, hey, what did they order? They got a water and a muffin. Oh, I'll take care of that. Yep, I'm in on that one. I just got 3 coffees for I'm good. So we appreciate your phone call.
All right.
Thank you, Brian.
Let's get out, stay on the Love Chevy phone lines. Chris is up next. Chris, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Bill, Patrick, Jen, this is a long time, second time. And Bill, you might remember the first
forgot.
time
Now I know
called
what's
in.
coming. Now I know what's going. I forgot about
It was
this.
during
I forgot we had
last year's regional.
Yeah. Forgot we had to take this phone call this morning.
Cousin counting. Throw another tire on the fire, Clemson Taters. And let me tell you about the Clemson Taters. I was on the Twitter machine the other day, and they were bragging about how good Clemson's baseball team is. Well, Bill, who they played? Who they played, Bill? They barely beat the Charleston School of Law. They barely beat USC Spartanburg. And they played 3 games against an insurance company, the Hartford. Who they played, Bill? They ain't played nobody. We played somebody. We played the University of North Carolina. Might be the Greensboro campus, but we played the University of North Carolina. And then we beat up on George Washington, who's the greatest American of all time. So at least we played somebody, Bill. I'm telling you this right now. We're going to win tonight. We're going to win tomorrow. And then we're going to go up to Taterland, and we're going to sweep them. We're going to beat them like a rented mule. Thank you for taking my call.
Appreciate the phone call. He got me actually on the North Carolina one. I was like, well, the Greensboro campus. Very sharp there. Very sharp.
People forget about George Washington. Across the Delaware.
He did. So that does make them a great school, and that makes Chris's point very valid.
Nation's capital. It's the most powerful city in the world.
Incredible baseball program.
We swept them.
Up next, we go to a man who knows all about whipping up on Clemson Tigers. It will be Brian Jeffcoat, another great friend of the program. Much like Brian Glenn, one cooks pizza, one hits home runs.
Next time you're at the Village Idiot, pay it forward.
Yeah, pay for the table next to you. Somebody hit us up. I like this. Somebody hit me up. Who is this? Dan in Dalzell says, be wary of minivans and Suburbans in the pay it forward line. It's a good point.
I would say be wary of pitchers and What else at the Village Idiot?
Uh,
You don't want to be buying people's beer for
the
them.
small bourbon glasses. Like
Yeah.
that's why I always get mine in a styrofoam at LJ's. I always get because nobody ever knows. They don't know what's going on. They think I could be drinking water. 803-404-6100. Brian Jeffcoat is up next on the early game. Can you hear it? Oh, getting out today, doing a little tailgating for the big baseball series. You need to be in great health. You want to be able to get out there, run around, maybe throw the ball around in the yard with the kids, maybe get out there again and tailgate this afternoon. And to do that, you need to be in the best shape of your life. And the way to do that is with QC Kinetics. If you've been struggling lately, it's time to give QC Kinetics a call. 803-281-6860. You can get a free consultation with QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in the biologic therapies. They are ready to help you. It is, again, a new restorative way of treatment that requires no surgery, no downtime, no steroids, no opioids. They're ready to help you. This is the relief you've been hoping for your aching hips, knees, shoulder, lower back. The unique protocols at QC Connects were created by physicians with years of study in regenerative restorative medicine. So give them a call today for a free consultation. 803-281-6860. Make this spring and summer your absolute best ever with no joint pain holding you back. 803-281-6860. That's the way to get a free consultation and get back to living the life you want. 803-281-6860. That's QC Kinetics.
Do you guys want to record that promo?
8:45 on your Friday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrett, Jen Jensen, as we get you ready for the weekend series that will be. And sometimes you got to go to the experts or to the bullpen, or you got to call in a designated hitter. I don't know. It's one of those things. And so we patiently await the arrival of one Brian Jeffcoat now as he puts the batting helmet on. The batting gloves are tightened up, and now stepping to the plate as he did. I don't know, Brian, was it 25 years ago? Is that right? When was your 3-homer game?
01.
Oh, okay. Thank goodness.
21 years ago.
Okay, 21 years
That
ago.
was
I was
kind of
close.
well. It was kind of weird that you overguessed it.
Exactly, Bill.
Well, I thought he was a
Kind of
freshman.
insulting.
I'm sorry. I thought he was a freshman superstar at that point. I forgot Ray Tanner didn't allow freshmen to play back then.
No, just me.
Oh, okay. All right. What number one, welcome in. Glad to have you back. Always appreciate you joining us. Apologize. Brian Glenn ate up a few minutes of your time by wanting to talk lacrosse. So if you want to take that up with him at Village Idiot, please do not hesitate to do so.
No, I gladly turn my time over for Brian.
Just playing in this game. We've covered this. You're a Columbia guy. You had opportunities to go to both schools. You chose South Carolina. What is your memory of just like 8:45, 8:47? Brian, do you go to class? Did you go to class? I guess it was different back then because you played the 2 Saturday, Sunday games and then the week games. What do you remember just about the morning of the game?
Well, I mean, there was always excitement leading up, during the week, much less than, certainly in the morning of the game. If you woke up today, you're like, man, what a beautiful day. This is going to be awesome. In 2001, our first game, I believe, was that Saturday, and we came in on a Friday. We drove all the way up to Clemson on the Friday, had our BP that night, stayed in the hotel, and then the next day it was raining. And we didn't even take batting practice. I didn't know if we were going to play the game. So those are always like elements you never want to be faced with. But it doesn't matter in this particular game, in this series, because it's your rival. It's Clemson. And it's the same way on their side. They feel the same way. And so I just remember, for me, it was a lot of local people that, had followed me, and just you see them around the ballpark all the time, and friends. And, it was kind of feeling excited to play in front of them, and you obviously were, you're nervous because you want to perform well, and it's certainly a lot of emotion in that game that surrounds it, and you just gotta, you can't, these guys, they can't let it get the best of them. They have to channel that emotion and certainly the the atmosphere and that extra adrenaline to help them, because it can hurt you too.
He's Brian Jeffcoat joining us this morning. Let's ask this. Patrick and I have discussed a lot about this. The pitching staff, obviously, they're in a state of flux right now. We know that Will Sanders will pitch tonight, but you stepped up big in your opportunity. Trey Dyson, we've had him on. We've cut up. He stepped up big. You got another memory of guys that I don't want to say weren't known, but obviously Michael Roth was another one. You got a memory of somebody else in your time that stepped up, whether it was for the Gamecocks or the Tigers, and kind of made a name for themselves in this game?
I mean, Timmy Whitaker. I mean, he's one that definitely comes to mind. And I had a special night once, and he had the same special night as well for him. And he was always a guy that was similar to me, that got some playing time, but was never the guy that certainly will be talked about until you have some special moments that you come through. And there's been many guys that have had great games against Clemson, or just taken moments that we needed them when we didn't expect it to happen, and they came through. And that's what it's about. I mean, if you're at the Carolina, if you're a pitcher today, you can't, you got to be pumping your head full of positive, thoughts. You got to visualize yourself executing the pitches that you need to go. It's not, don't worry about the stats of yesterday. Focus on tonight when it's your opportunity, and make the most of it. And that's how special things happen. All you want is opportunity. It's a hard game. It's so many elements that can bring adversity on you, and so you have to just stay within yourself. You have to be just positive and almost allow those negative things to just, if they come, you deal with them and you move. And it's hard. That's a hard thing to do because it's so mental, and your moments are limited in a game. But from a pitching standpoint, listen, I know we got a lot of arms that are down, but it's just the opportunity for that next guy to step up. And if I'm out there, it's not always about velocity. You don't have to come out in this game and throw the hard and certainly that helps, but it's really make competitive pitches, execute a pitch that we need in the moment to maybe get a double play, or, hey, if you get a few guys on, limit your mistakes is essentially what I would be telling myself and the team.
Well, so we talked about that. Like, this is the moment for a lot of guys that are going to get innings that they weren't really expecting. But for the batters, and I guess everybody in the field too, how aware are you of situations like that? Like, when you go into a game knowing, hey, this pitcher's been struggling, this is not our guy, are you thinking, hey, I need to do a lot more, I need to hit a home run every time I'm at the plate because we're going to need to score a bunch of runs? Or are those conversations happening, or is it just kind of known and not discussed? Like, what are you thinking on a game like that? Like South Carolina might be on Saturday and Sunday.
I mean, I think coaches probably think more about those things. They're sitting in there strategizing how we're going to get runs. We need more runs probably because for Saturday and Sunday, we got some unknowns of who's pitching for us, or, we just feel like maybe we got it's going to be an offensive more approach. And so, but you can't put that pressure on your guys. I mean, those guys aren't really thinking, maybe some of the older guys might think, hey, we got to really come through for them. I don't think guys are thinking about that. They're in the moment, and they're trying to make the most of their opportunity. They either, comes through in a moment where they hit a home run, but it's too hard of a game to go out there and say, hey, I've got to put all this pressure on myself to hit a home run. You take what the game gives you, and you make the most of the opportunity. Baseball is such a game within a game. There's so many small little details that go into it, and if you do well at that, then typically your outcome is successful. And a lot of fans and people don't maybe understand how that works, but it's executing the bunt when you need to get it down. It's moving the runners over. It's throwing the right pitch in the sequence of your count. Those are the things and again, the other thing is just being a good teammate. You're never down. One of the things that we are encouraged about with this team is they've been down in games, sometimes in the last moment, and they've been down to the last out and they've come back. I mean, that's a good quality to have, and you got to use that as your, if you did have something where the game was seeming to get away, that, hey, we're never out. We're never out of these games.
About a minute left, Brian. So kind of quickly, how important is game one in this series to win and establish momentum?
Well, it's important, but it's one game, right? And you can't let it set the tone. If you don't come out as the winning outcome, if you do win, then yeah, let it set the tone for the rest of the weekend. So I think it's always a critical game from our perspective as fans and coaches, and as a player, you just play the game, and you want to win. Certainly want to win every game, but don't get too far ahead of yourself. And I think we come out tonight and we're on our field. Don't let them win on your field. Take pride in it. Let the fans get behind you. And hey, special things can happen. They've happened for an average guy like me.
You're more than average. You're above average.
One game for sure.
One game. Well, there was some other ones. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Hope to get you back next week to break this down, and also another big series next week with Texas. So appreciate you taking time out this morning, and hope you and the kids have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too as well. Brian Jeffcoat joining us, a great friend of the program as always. It's been a busy week here on the show. Patrick, Jen's done a fantastic job of getting all the interviews up. If you've missed anything, whether it was John Whittle, whether it was a great Kyle Thompson interview we had regarding the PGA, whether it was Michael Bolin yesterday or Kerry Tharp, you can always go back and listen. Big weekend, Las Vegas NASCAR racing. Jen, can you win 2 in a row? Okay. Jen's working hard. That's the
well, it is different now with Pearson coming in right after us. You got to get everything done and out of the way. Normally, we can hang out until 9:30.
Well, I was asking, can you win 2 in a row?
I can.
2 in a row.
I expect it.
Go for it. Well, okay. Let's not get too cocky in there. I mean, 1 win. My goodness. Patrick, Maryland lacrosse, they get the job done.
Can't wait.
I tell you what,
combine.
Brian Glenn has no clue about lacrosse. Don't worry. We'll talk baseball, basketball, and more next week. Y'all have a great weekend. It's been a blast. We're out.
All right, live stream. Everybody has a great weekend. Hopefully we have at least 5 wins total this weekend. Everybody will be happy.
All kinds of wins.
Gamecock-
All kinds of wins.
Gamecock
Y'all have a
Larry
great
called and said
weekend.
we're
We
gonna
got to get
sweep.
out of here. Pearson's up next.